shield bow, immortal shield bow, is getting changed from 320, 720 to 400 to 700. And the shield is now reduced
Whoa,
80%.
Say that again.
So okay, so shield is from seven. It's right now it's 720 or 320 to 720,
Okay.
and it's going to 400 to 700.
Based on what level?
Yeah, based on level.
Okay.
So the shield is now reduced 80%.
Wait, what? Dude, they're trying to murder ADCs. I bought that item a couple times the other day. God damn, dude. It's literally not even viable now. That's nuts. Wow. That's like a Yone Yasuo item, period. That's it.
That's what I thought they were going to nerf it for, but no, they're nerfing it for range characters. But you know what? Draven and Misfortune build Bloodthirster into shield bow sometime, and they're unkillable. It's actually fucking insane. Rail is getting nerfed, so I guess Jet's not going to use her anymore. Her E movement speed is going from 12% to 20%, 12 to 20%, nerf to 12% to 16%. So it's a nerf late game for her.
Okay. Yeah.
Then some AD buffs or some buffs from Gnar, some small buff from Gnar, small buff for Jarvan. So far, but yeah, that Bloodthirster.
Anything for ADCs or no?
The only thing is for not the ones you use. So it's actually
any
a nerf.
Any nerfs like.
No, not for champions yet. Not for champions, okay. Specific champions. But I think they're acknowledging that Misfortune and Draven are a fucking terror on the Rift right now with Bloodthirster, so they're trying to nerf it right now. So,
okay,
yeah.
Everybody hates ADCs. They don't like it when ADCs are strong.
They're so oppressive, man. They're like, I acknowledge that ADCs need to be a thing. They need to have ADCs.
They're not oppressive, okay? They're so easy to they're so easy to counter. You just you go for them first. That's it.
The problem is there's so many items to counter you going for them first.
Yeah.
There should be no reason why I can't blow up a Misfortune or a Draven as Zed. But they just have shielding and healing.
No, I think that's true. I just think I guess the thing is I play in the ADCs that don't use those items. Like I don't play any ADCs that buy shield bow really, unless like I might buy it later in the game maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I buy Bloodthirster as well sometimes, but that's also like usually the last item I'm buying if I'm buying it. For like a late game to have late game sustain. So, Draven and Misfortune buying it first is a problem, and it being as effective as it is buying it first is a huge problem.
I mean, you saw it. We can be up on the Misfortune or Draven, and they buy Bloodthirster, and they're unkillable.
There's no point in poking them anymore.
Yeah,
like, there's literally no point. Like you once they have that item, you can't you have to go all in, or you just don't do anything to them. Like there's just no point. You got to go for the support basically, and kill them and then isolate. Like that's your only way to get the kill against them.
God forbid they have a enchanter sustain support.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, we had that once. It was like Sona and Misfortune, and it would do when she got the Bloodthirster, it was miserable. We couldn't do anything. Like it was horrible. We couldn't kill either one of them, and like it just they could just charge us at any time. Like anytime the lane was pushed up. It was bad. So I don't know, but I mean these are early. There's a chance some of these might be changed. So
I think they're actually going to. I think they're going to hit the Bloodthirster a little bit harder. That Bloodthirster nerf is kind of minor, but I don't know. The other cold opening I wanted, but we already started. The icebreaker I wanted is I know you haven't seen the Sonic movies, but man, you need to watch some Sonic movies, man. They're actually pretty good.
Are you doing this too? You're doing this too? You and DJ?
Yeah,
DJ is like, oh, Justin, you're coming to Sonic 3, no questions. I'm like, where's this coming from?
You are.
Did you guys have some secret meeting without,
It was me and two of our friends who saw Sonic 2. They took their kids and we saw Sonic 2 together because we love Sonic 2. We love Sonic. All of us love Sonic. So we're like Sonic fanatics. We saw Sonic. Well, I didn't see Sonic. Actually, I did see Sonic 1 with them. I saw Sonic 1 with DJ, and then we saw Sonic 2. and I already took the day off for Sonic 3. So I already got my day
When's it coming
planned and
out?
everything. The 20th of December.
Okay.
I already got the day off. I already told my boss the Thursday night, like I'm going to see it, and I'm
I
probably
can't
going to see it
believe this.
again
Oh
on the
my
20th.
god.
Shadows in there, bro. Like, come on, he's voiced by
Montrell's
Keanu Reeves.
raging fanboy for Sonic is coming out right now. Like, okay, I need you guys to really think about this though. Like, do you really want me to be there? Okay, like I just have to say it. I know DJ's gonna listen. I know DJ's gonna listen. I need you guys to really think about this. Like, do you want me to be there and watch this movie, and we get out of the movie, and I'm just like, it's fine. You know, and you guys are like, oh my god, oh, can you believe when Sonic turned Super Saiyan? Oh shit. You know, like
he did turn Supersonic into a movie with a fucking nuts in the movie theater.
Okay. Do you really need me there for that though? I'm just asking. Like, I just want to be sure because
I know you're right. You're more so a Mario fan.
I'm gonna be the wet blanket here. Like, I'm not a Sonic fan. All right. I'm not a big Sonic fan, I guess. Like, I'll say that. I enjoy Sonic. I'm just like, I'm not into it like you guys are.
Yeah. You're on Sonic like I am on Mario. Like, I enjoy it, but I'm not like big on it. Like you love Mario.
I mean, I'm not that big on Mario either. I conceptually think Mario's universe though makes much more sense for a movie than Sonic's does. Sonic's is like I don't even know how you properly tell a story in the Sonic universe. Like, it's just
you gotta watch the movies, baby. It's really good. It's really good. Man. They took some liberties with the movie, with the thing, but I think it still works out fine. So you can tell the people who made the movie are Sonic fans for sure.
Well, thank you for telling me early. At least you're not dropping this on me on like December 15th, and you're like, Justin, you gotta come see Sonic 3 with us, bro. It's like I got like 4 days to watch like 2 movies I don't want to watch. You know. So I'll try to figure out how I'm gonna, watch these movies. All right.
Yeah, man. I mean, if it's any consolation, Keanu Reeves is voicing Shadow. So
what? Why? What? Come on. Why? That doesn't. I don't feel like that makes any sense. But all right.
It shouldn't make sense, but I watched the trailer and it makes so
it made sense. Oh,
yeah.
What the fuck, dude? Oh man. All right.
So I'm hyped. So
is Jim Carrey still Eggman?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. That might be the one thing that like really gets me into it.
Fun fact about that. He was gonna retire after Sonic 2, and then he read the script for Sonic 3. He's like, I'm back, baby. I'm back. Let's do it.
This is the film. This is the film that brought him back. It's unbelievable. It's so funny. The power of video games, everybody. But all right. Well, I'll figure it out. It's like, what is it? 4 hours of movies, not even that I need to watch.
I think each one is like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Okay. They're designed to be kids' movies, so they're going to be short.
Where can I watch them? Are they on Netflix?
I think if DJ gives you access to his Plex, you can watch them on there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. No, yep, you're totally right. Yeah. Okay, done. Easy. All right. All right. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take. This is episode 287, I believe, because I wasn't on last week. I'm your host, Justin D. Simone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice.
Well, technically it's 86. It's still 86. I did a reflections.
Was it 80? Was it?
Yeah, I didn't count the other one.
Oh, you didn't count it. Okay, this is 286. All right. Yep. All right. Okay, Montrell didn't count it. I guess that's true. You didn't talk about any news or anything.
No, I didn't.
You just ranted for 45 minutes.
Yep, baby. Old man rants.
But no, thank you for covering last week. I was in my house at 8 or so, or 8:15, I think, and like technically could have recorded, but dude, I had spent the whole day traveling. It would have been bad. And I was not really keeping up on news last week, so thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
No problem.
We're back. I'm not gonna be gone for probably a while. There might be one more trip this year. Actually, I found out, so we might have another one of those at some point. But for the foreseeable future, we're good. So, all right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right, Macho, we have a beefy fucking show, so I really don't want to fucking mince words here. Let's just jump right into what we've been playing. I'll go first. We were talking about League a little bit. I want to keep it brief. You know,
Yeah, I'm keeping
we
mine
turn this
too brief.
podcast into a League podcast most weeks, so we'll keep it brief. League's been fun. We've had some good nights. We've had some bad nights. We had a couple bad nights over the weekend, right? Was that where we just like, it was just like losing. Still last night we played and had some fun. We had some good games, I think, overall.
Mhm.
You know, I carried the last game. Montrell couldn't get a single kill. It was something to behold, you know. Every time he was trying to get a kill, I walked up and, you know, I just murdered the guy.
Last hit it. It was crazy.
No, there were a couple that I did feel bad about, genuinely. I was like, fuck, god damn it. I wasn't like trying to take the kill, you know. But you're playing Jin sometimes and you're like, you don't know how much
Yeah,
damage you're really gonna do to somebody, you know,
your
and it's
first
like,
shot is pretty crazy. Your first shot is
yeah,
pretty
man.
crazy.
And it's like the dude's got like half his health and then he's just dead. And it's like,
Yeah.
all right, I mean, I wasn't trying to do that, but okay. So it was just kind of one of those games. I was like, dude, it was weird. That was a weird game because I was fucking way ahead, and I don't know how that really happened because I wasn't like going out of my way to farm super crazy, but I was like an item ahead of pretty much everybody in the game for like a
Yeah.
long period of time, and I was multiple items ahead of some people. It was insane. I was like, I don't know what the fuck, like the kills started to rack up, I guess. Like that probably was the difference. But I think I had like 22,000 net worth or something when the
Yeah.
after the game was over. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like it was fucking,
You know, it came out of nowhere because the lane, I mean, the game state in general was pretty
it was
tame and
slow.
quiet.
It was
Yeah, it
really
was real
slow.
slow. Yeah.
Mhm. And then
So,
we had a few good fights, but I got like 3 or 4 kills in multiple fights.
yeah.
And then it just kind of got out of control because it was funny because their Ez was pretty good actually.
Yeah, he
And
was. He was hitting every shot. Yeah, he was pretty
and he
good.
did well, but dude, it was like he probably was really frustrated because he's like, man, I'm having a good game, but like it's like, dude, this fucking Jin just like popped off, and I thought it was like 2-shotting him at a certain point.
That
Um,
Leona he had wasn't really good though. I will admit
no,
that.
no, she
Yeah.
wasn't. She was really passive. I don't think she really understood how to play Leona very well.
Yeah.
Because usually like good Leona players, dude, are unmanageable. I can't deal with them. Like they make it impossible to fucking play. Like because you like if you step out and you get hit by the fucking sword thing, you're done, dude. You're fucking dead. You're just like you're fucking dead. So yeah, she wasn't great. That was probably the difference ultimately, but we had a fun time. We had a fun games. Um Anything else you want to say about League?
No. Just gonna continue grind. I actually had to take a break from it, so
Yeah.
I'm actually glad I took a break from it. I was playing some other games and stuff like that. Which
Yeah,
I'll
I
get
took
to
a few
later.
days. I didn't play for like 3 or 4 days. I was like, I need a break too.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, I played this like once before I went on my trip. Haven't played it since. I just need to get back into it. I got kind of caught on a different game on my trip, which I'll talk about now, which is Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga. So I think I talked about this game last year. It came out in 2023. I bought it and played it very briefly back when it came out. I think I played like 2 or 3 missions, and then for whatever reason, I just wasn't into it at the time and dropped it. But I needed a game to play on the plane and on while I was traveling, and I just decided to give this one another shot. And it hooked me in this time. Damn, fucking smash my mic. No, it actually hooked me in this time. I'm on chapter 20 of 35, so I'm pretty deep into the game at this point. And I'm kind of hoping to wrap the game up in the next weekish. I kind of want to be done by the time the next we do the next episode, but I probably won't manage that. But no, this game is fun. So it's a tactics game. It's a strategy RPG.
Looks like fucking Fire
Where
Emblem.
okay, it's a cross between a few different games. So it looks like Fire Emblem. The mode of gameplay is like the way the game works is more like ogre battle. So your units that you see on the battlefield there in like the screenshots, they're actually squads of up to 9 units, and you build your squad. And when you attack an enemy, your two squads will fight each other in the game auto fights. So like you don't choose who you're attacking basically.
Mm,
So it plays out with the AIs kind of hitting each other, and that's very similar to Ogre Battle from back in the day. But then the game looks like Fire Emblem, but kind of has more of a I'd say Fire Emblem in terms of movements. The movement is pretty similar. Like in terms of how much movement you have, a lot of movement at your disposal in this game. Generally, there's some skills like cavalry will get, like if they don't use all their movement and they go and attack somebody, they get like that, the Kanto move where they can like finish their move after attacking or something.
yeah,
So some of that stuff is kind of taken from Fire Emblem, but some of the skills and things like that kind of remind me a little bit more of like Tactics Ogre. So there's like a very mix of tactics games that inspired this game. But the all this boils down to a game that is actually pretty unique and interesting. Ultimately, I think it's pretty well made. And I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with it. The gameplay is deep enough. It hits that balance. The thing with tactics games is generally, I think you guys would probably think, like listening to me talk about them and the way I love them, that I would want them to be like super complicated. But
mm,
generally speaking, that is not those are not usually the ones that are that are super fun. The more complicated you make them, the harder it is for the player to kind of get into the game. And
yeah,
then you end up bogging the player down with kind of management aspects where they're not actually playing the game. They're just sitting in menus, like doing shit to their units and stuff, and that isn't quite as fun generally. So you kind of want to make the game deep enough where it's deep enough that it's an RPG, but you don't want to make it so deep that you're kind of bogging the gameplay down. And this game strikes that balance for sure. You probably aren't spending more than like 15 minutes between chapters, kind of organizing your army and stuff like that. And I think that is the game's credit. They kind of definitely took the right lessons from games like Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics and Fire Emblem. Um, and it's a fun game. Like I'm enjoying it a lot. The thing is, it's not hard. I'm playing on the second hardest difficulty. It is not hard at all. I'm not really having any trouble with it. But most tactics games end up being that way. To be honest, like Tactics Ogre is not really hard either. Final Fantasy Tactics is probably one of the harder ones, but it's really not hard either. When you get to a certain point, it's just the game is so like that game is like really bursty where there's a lot of damage getting thrown out in that game. It's not a lot of defensive moves in that game, but yeah, in this one, it's not super hard, but the gameplay is fun. The map design is pretty good for the most part. I will say the story is like kind of whatever. It's not very interesting, but I don't really think that's why you should be here with this game. Frankly, it's just a fun gameplay game. So, but there's a good amount of content here. I'd say there's probably 30 to 40 hours of gameplay between the main game, and then they do have a DLC pack that adds like 8 missions to the game and adds a few character classes that aren't in the base game. So that's cool as well. So I would definitely recommend it. I'm like, I'd say if I were gonna rate the game, I'd probably give it between like a 7 and a 7.5, somewhere in there. It's definitely it's a good game. It's a very good game.
yeah.
Um,
It reminds me of like you said, like Fire Emblem, Ogre Battle, Final Fantasy Tactics. In another game for me personally, it reminds me of a good cross between Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Advance Wars.
oh
Um,
yeah, Advanced Wars. Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that would be another good comparison point. I'd say it's definitely more of a cross between that Fire Emblem and Ogre Battle than like Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics are definitely not in the same category to me.
yeah,
Like those games, like especially Final Fantasy Tactics is like small squads. Like you're basically have like 6 units per battle in that game usually,
yeah,
which is extremely small. And Tactics Ogre brings that up to maybe 10 usually, so it's a little bit more like larger scale but it's not quite like this game and Fire Emblem go up to like 15 or 20 different units you can have. So
Well, they also it looks like they have a morale system, like
yes,
Last Remnant. I think Last Remnant have a morale system as well,
yes, it
if I
did.
remember that
That is
correctly.
true.
Yeah,
That is an interesting pull because that probably that I'm not going to say that's where it came from. They may have just come up with this idea on their own, but yeah, that is another game that had a system like that. It works in a very similar way. When you kill enemy units, your morale goes up, theirs goes down.
yeah,
If your leader dies, then your morale goes way down, and their morale goes way up. So it's pretty standard in that way. But I will say, like I'm actually I would be interested in replaying this game on the hardest difficulty because I'm definitely like kind of cruising through the game right now. I will say I did hit chapter 19 was the first chapter in a while where huh, my units aren't quite as effective as they've been. Like the enemies are actually a little stronger. Like there it might have been like a break point where the enemy power kind of increased.
yeah,
So so it's not like the game is just like a pushover necessarily. I think if you're not like experienced with these type of games, it could definitely be a challenging game. Building your squads, like the way you build your squads is very important. If you don't have them kind of structured in the right way with the right mix of units, they're not going to be very effective. And that's something you kind of have to learn by playing the game. So yeah, definitely recommend it. All right, Montrell. What about you? What have you been playing?
So I haven't really touched Final Fantasy 13. I'm on chapter 5 or 6 of Final Fantasy 13. I don't like this chapter. I remember why I don't like this chapter. It's the chapter where like you're in the forest that's like in the light, like a robotic looking forest or whatever.
Is that with Vanille
Yes, Vidal and
and
Lightning.
Saz? Oh, it's
This
just
is
Vanille and Lightning. Okay.
Vanilla Lightning, yeah, or not Vanilla Lightning. I'm sorry. You're with Lightning and Hope.
The
So we're with
kid.
Lightning and Hope.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So and he finally, you can finally take control of Hope, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill Snow and all this other shit like that because Snow got my mother killed." And then he found out that Snow named his group the same name as his mother. It was such a fucking dumb plot. I didn't like that plot part. Whatever. It's so stupid.
That half of the game is pretty bad.
Yeah, it was
I
so
didn't
dumb.
find that whole plot with him, Lightning, and Snow very interesting. I
Yeah,
found the other side of the plot way more interesting.
yeah. I don't find him as an interesting character. I think his whole motivation for wanting to kill Snow is stupid to me. Um, I think he just needs some. I understand they're saying he's putting this trauma onto Snow. I understand it. I just think the writing is bad for it. Lightning doesn't make it any better because she doesn't have any agency. She's like, do whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm saving my sister. Like, cool, I guess. But he's also like a young kid. So also your sister loves Snow. So can we not? Both of them are putting all their trauma on Snow. I don't like it. I don't even like Snow as a character, to be honest with y'all. But for everyone to treat him like shit, it's kind of fucking mind boggling to me right now. I'm like, bro, all he's trying to do is look out for everybody. Like Sarah treats him like she doesn't really treat him like shit. She becomes a lassie or whatever. And I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it for y'all. The game's like fucking 13 years old. Grow the fuck up. Like
15 years old.
15 years old. So yeah, like I forgot. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Like,
I mean, hold on. If they haven't played Final Fantasy 13 and they're like, let's say they're like 12, it's not their fault. Like, I mean,
grow up. Like, I'm sorry,
I guess that if they're 12, they do need to grow up. But okay. But what if you're like 30 and you haven't played it and it's like on your list and Montreal just fucking ruined it for you? You know.
I didn't ruin anything for him because the game has been out for 15 years.
I mean, the story of the game is not great.
Yeah, I mean, that's like me trying to spoil Terminator 2. Like, just watch the fucking movie, bro. Like, the movie, I don't know what to tell y'all. So, but anyway, like, yeah, so yeah, she becomes a lassie or whatever, and then she's like, "Oh, I want to break up," and he's like, "Bro, like I'll fight for you. Like we can try this or whatever." She's like, "No, I want to break up," and it's like, and then she goes off and does, I don't know, I forgot how she goes off and do her own thing, so that's why I'm playing through the game again, y'all. So I'm learning just as much as y'all are because I forgot a lot of the plot points of this show of this video game. But yeah, like I don't know. I just don't like the way Lightning and Hope are putting all their trauma. They're dumping their trauma or using Snow as a surrogate for their trauma, and it's not fair to Snow. And yeah, so uh I actually do like Size and Vanille plot. I like their dynamic a lot better. I think they have a really cool, interesting dynamic. Like he's more like the father figure, and she's like a ditzy kid, and like whatever. He's just like man, these fucking kids, man, not a care in the fucking world or whatever. So I like their dynamic really, and I want to continue their storyline. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know, the game's cool. This is a really cool game. So the other game I've been playing, obviously League of Legends. I ain't gonna really talk about that. We already did that, and then Wukong, Black Myth Wukong. So this game is very interesting. Um, I so far I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
The reason I'm giving it an 8 out of 10, it's not Wukong's fault. It's this genre of games. I am tired of the input delay. I think we need to get ready from that. Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Stellar Blade, we need to get rid of the artificial difficulty with the input delay. It's very fucking annoying. There are specific inputs in this game in particular that you have to do. And there's huge, and you can spam it if you spam the button a little bit too much, or press like the square button two more times more than you're supposed to, or one more time, the move won't come out correctly because you're supposed to hold it on like maybe the second or third input or whatever. So I don't like it from that aspect.
It's more like a fighting game.
Yeah,
you need like more precise button presses.
Yeah, exactly. And they're still trying to do the delay input thing where with like Dark Souls and all the Souls game, even Sekiro has a delay input input delay. As much as I love that game, it still does have a slight input delay. So that being said, though, they do one interesting thing is when I was saying it was like Sekiro in the chat, they do the opposite. They don't do parries. They do dodging. They make dodging very satisfying. When you dodge, you get a little clone that goes behind you to show that you did a perfect dodge and everything like that. It's really fucking cool. They don't do the slow motion shit like Stellar Blade does that fucks up your rhythm. I really love that.
Yeah.
I really do love that. I love that. So, and then the way it's like God of War is they have like armor and stuff like that gives you like small little buffs or whatever. Like God of War, like yeah, they do that shit like God of War does or whatever.
Can we stop with this shit? This shit has never been fun. Okay, there's been nothing interesting about it ever since God of War did it. Okay, like it wasn't good in God of War 2018. It wasn't good in Ragnarok. It's not good here. Like stop it. Okay, it's like faux RPG systems. Like stop this shit. Okay, just make a fucking action game. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so they do have the faux action game systems going on. Also, they do the thing with Stellar Blade where you have these abilities, but they're on cooldown. It's not a global cooldown, thank God. Stellar Blade didn't have global cooldowns as well, but it is a cooldown, which is fair. I think your moveset is a little bit. Your base moveset is underwhelming, even when you upgrade it, in my opinion. I think your powers are really cool as Wukong when you start to get your powers. I actually think the world is super fucking interesting. I actually started reading Journey to the West because of this game. So this game takes place after Journey to the West. And I'm not spoiling anything. It's the beginning of the game. So you play as Sun Wukong in the beginning of the game, and then you find out that your character is like a descendant or whatever of Wukong, and antics ensue or whatever. So I'm not going to tell you anything else of how that whole thing come about. But this story takes place after Journey to the West, or whatever. And now that I'm reading Journey to the West, I think Journey to the West. When did this come out? When did?
Oh, isn't it? It's super fucking old, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super old. But I'm going somewhere to this. It's come out. So it came out in 1592. That's when it was printed.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
This was, in fact, in my opinion, the first anime. the first shonen anime. This guy Wukong, bro,
Yeah.
goes on adventures, bro. Like gains powers. I'm and then makes friends with the enemies. Who does that sound like? Goku. He's fucking Goku, bro. Like,
So he's okay. So that's interesting. That might literally be the inspiration. Like,
it is.
I mean, obviously, Goku is called. It's the same. I think
Yeah.
Dragon Ball. It's obvious that's the inspiration with
Yeah.
Dragon Ball. But like the character, because Goku's like a static character, right? Like he doesn't
Yeah.
ever change in the narrative. Like everyone around him kind of reacts to him, and he's a very static character in the way his growth is. Is that the same in Journey to the West with the main character?
Wukong has a very interesting dynamic. He's actually at the beginning of Journey to the West, and when he gets his powers, he's a kind of a fucking asshole, and he's kind of like, I'm the shit. He's kind of like Vegeta, like he's kind of
Okay.
like not in the bad way, like how Vegeta wants to kill everybody, but like he's cocky and arrogant when he gets his powers and stuff like that and everything like that. But then, towards the end of it, he's becoming more tame and more understanding and more one with Buddha and one with himself and one with nothingness and everything of that nature. Because I'm at the end of it now. But yeah, like I think his character dynamic, his character arc is very interesting. And I actually kind of see that. And he's not running from a fight as well. So I see a lot of like Luffy from One Piece in him. I see a lot of like Goku. I see a lot of like, Naruto, Ichigo. I see all these like anime characters. And I'm like, bro, this was legitimately the first anime. And I see why it's so like reading this shit back in like the 1500s, bro, your mind probably boggled. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is because I was reading like the shit that he does and the people that he fights, and then like the way the characters are interacting with each other. I'm like, was this shit written today? Like, this is a fucking good ass anime, bro. Like, holy shit. Like it's really good. I recommend people read it, or you can like listen to the audio version of it. It's really good. So so going back to that, this place takes place after Journey to the West, and it's interesting in Black Myth Wukong as well. They changed some stuff. They changed a little bit of stuff here and there, but they also like have things where if you do certain tasks, you can go back into the past and play or like live that moment as Wukong or whatever. And things of that nature. So you get to learn a little bit about some of the bosses that you're about to fight through that thing in the past or whatever. So I just think the world is super interesting. Also, I like the animomorphic characters. I think they work really well in this game. The mix with humans. But yeah, I think it's really cool or whatever. And everything of that nature. The characters are very interesting. The bosses are very interesting and everything like that. Just give me 1 second here.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, what I'm hearing is
okay, I'm
back.
Yeah, but
so just to cut in, I guess, real quick, like, so
yeah.
What I'm hearing is kind of it's sounding a lot like Stellar Blade in terms of like its kind of level of game it might be. Is that accurate, or do you think it's a better game?
Same level. Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't. They're the same level, but I think they're trying to accomplish two different things. They're trying to accomplish the same thing as where they're inspired by. They're definitely inspired by, the Sekiros, the Elden Rings, the Dark Souls, and stuff like that. But I think they're trying to. The way they go about doing things is two different ways. In my
I guess
opinion.
I just mean the quality level, though.
Oh yeah. The quality level is definitely up there. Like, I think it's a little bit better than Stellar Blade, in my opinion. I think the world is more fleshed out. I think the world building and Wukong is way better than Stellar Blade, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, it's not even a comparison, in my opinion. Stellar Blade was good, but the world building, and that may be unfair because Stellar Blade was building their own narrative, whereas Wukong Journey to the West is coming off of Journey to the West.
Right.
But it's still, I mean, even still though, I mean, I have to give it to Black Myth Wukong. The way they do environmental storytelling is, to me, on par with Dark Souls or Elden Ring. Like it's very good.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
you will be intrigued by the areas that you're in and everything of that
Or like
nature.
Last of Us.
Yeah, like
Really?
I think
Wow. Okay.
I think it's really good. I think the environmental storytelling is really fucking good. They make you when you encounter certain enemies, I think their designs are really cool, and the way where they're introduced. Sometimes they're not introduced in like a special way; they're just there, right? But it makes me want to go back and look at the codex because they do have a codex every time you encounter an enemy. They have a codex entry for it, and
Yep.
it makes me want to go back and read the codex entry for almost every enemy type that I encounter and why they're in this particular situation or whatever the case may be. Like there's one instance where you meet an enemy drinking out of like a tub, not a tub, but like a huge lake or pool of blood,
Yeah.
but there's a reason why. You get up to that point and you see all these like dead carcasses and stuff like that, and there's a reason why that area is the way it is, and like through various journal entries and stuff like that, and even some of the dialogue and everything like that. If you go off the beaten path, you're rewarded with like lore and things of that nature, and why this became this and that and the third. So I don't know. I think the hype is warranted in my opinion. I can see why, especially in China. I can definitely see why this I heard they took a day off to play this game, and I definitely understand why. Especially this is like your heritage, like this is like
Yeah.
your shit. Like
Yeah.
I can see why they did that shit. This game is really cool. In that aspect. I think the main character, like he's a silent protagonist or whatever. But like he's just a vessel for the player, in my opinion, to experience this world or whatever.
Mhm.
And like I said, the combat isn't so far. I only ran across one area I fucking hate. And if you ever play the game, you'll probably hate the same fucking area that I will get to as well. I fucking hate the area. It's fucking stupid. But it's not an open world game. There's like I I would say it's like open linear levels, and then you can use your bonfire or your shrines to go back to the areas or whatever. But
Mm.
they're not like super open world. They do have a lot of invisible walls as well in the
Yeah.
game. But I do like that direct approach to it or whatever. I don't know. I think it's a very solid game. I think the wait was kind of worth the hype. I think that, there's some stuff that I have gripes with. Uh, but overall, I think it's a very good game, and I think people should check it out. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, a lot of people have. The game has sold 10 million copies,
Yes,
which is fucking crazy, actually. So I mean, do you think that's warranted given what you've experienced?
uh, yes and no. I feel like over here in the West, we played a lot of stuff like this already.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Chinese players have played a lot of stuff like that as well. But like I said, for China, um, this is their heritage. This is like their thing, and from what I understand, like Wukong in general, like the idea of Wukong is like that is like before Goku was Goku. This is their Goku. This is their Superman. How Superman is idolized here in America, like or Captain
Mhm.
America or something like that. That is what Wukong is over there. So for Wukong to have like a great game like this, showcasing his powers as well that were in the books, that's in the book and everything.
Yeah.
I can definitely see why this sold 10 million. For sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean the game had two over 2 million concurrents, I think, when it came out last weekend, which is
Mhm.
crazy. And that broke Steam's overall concurrent record as well, like 37 million. So
Yeah, I will say I think also part of that too is this whole fake, the whole fake. Oh, we're trying to show the libs, like the liberal game media, that we can play a game or something like that. So
well,
I think
yeah, there
it's
was like a weird mini controversy about
yeah,
what some sexist, I don't even fucking know. Like they were telling streamers like don't like talk about feminism or some shit or COVID
yeah,
or what, like I don't know. The whole thing was fucking weird, but
yeah. It
games
was
had great
weird.
success, so um
Yeah. So
um
I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it's a really cool, funny. It's not a funny story. I think it's a real. Some parts of the story are meant to be funny, but I think it's a really cool story. Yeah, I actually hope. I mean, I haven't beat the game yet, but I hope we see more from them and more from Black Myth Wukong as well, like the series in general. I wouldn't mind. So far, I wouldn't mind a sequel, even if they, or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a really cool game. I think you should check it out too. Whenever you get a
I
chance.
think I will. I think this is gonna be a similar game to like Stellar Blade for me. That I'm gonna like it a lot more than I kind of think I'm going to. You know.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it feels. So I'm probably gonna pick it up. I don't want to like drop Cyberpunk. Like I don't
Oh
want to
yeah,
lose that
yeah.
thread. So
I understand.
I don't
Yeah.
think it'll be like in the next week or two, but yeah, I definitely want to play it before the end of the year. All right, Montreal, we got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Let's get to Gamescom news. So Gamescom was last week. We had a ton of shit come out of it. We picked out the things that are most relevant to this show, so we're not going to talk about every announcement. Obviously, we would be here for fucking 6 hours, but so let's start. This isn't the biggest thing, but probably the most interesting one to me for both of us is Borderlands 4 was announced. This is coming off the catastrophic failure of the movie, where they lost $90 million on a $110 million budget. But I think a lot of people were kind of trying to punk Randy Pitchford about, oh, it's so convenient you're announcing this after the movie bombs. But honestly, I think this announcement was telegraphed a long time ago. He talked about it earlier in the year, and I think it was kind of one of those things like announcing it right after the movie comes out makes sense no matter which way it goes. If it's bad,
Yeah.
then it covers up the movie. If the movie's doing great, then it gets people more interested in this game. So I don't think it's like any kind of conspiracy or anything. Like the timing was the timing. So but the trailer was short. It was a minute and a half. There wasn't really anything shown too interesting. Like we didn't really see any characters or gameplay or anything. It was just a cinematic trailer of some like a planet fucking crashing into another like fucking planet and shit getting shot down at the surface and somebody picking up a bandit mask. So there was no like. I'm sure people are picking the fucking trailer apart and like trying to figure out, oh, who was that character? Whose arm was that? And shit like that. But I'm not. I don't care enough about Borderlands to get into that shit. So, but the game is announced. It's coming out in 2025. Was the window they gave it. Montreal, are you interested? Are you excited for Borderlands 4?
Um, I don't know, man. I don't think they learned their lesson from Borderlands 3.
I don't
I
think they.
would.
I don't think
I
they even
would.
heard it because most people like Borderlands 3. They like the
Yeah.
gameplay at a minimum.
I will. I'll be the first to admit I want Borderlands 2.5. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like I'll be the first to admit that.
I'm in
That's
the
what I
same boat.
want. Like I
I don't
don't
know
want.
I don't know how we get that message to them though, because I think Borderlands is a really weird franchise because Borderlands 1 sucks. It's not a fun game. Like it's not interesting, it's boring. The story's boring, the characters all talk like they were told to be monotone. Borderlands 2 is far and away the best game of the series. It's not even fucking close. Like that game is an absolute gem. But I also hate it at the same time. It's a very strange game, but it's an extremely high quality game, right? And
Yeah.
then you get the pre-sequel, which was kind of a middling game. It wasn't terrible, but it was it was fine. And then you have Tales from the Borderlands, which was made by Telltale, which is
Mm.
their adventure game style game, which that was really good. Also, that was super good. But that was all story focused, interestingly enough, but it was really well told.
Yep.
It was really good. And then you have Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which neither of us played. I have it. It's been
I
sitting
heard it's
there
really good though.
since it came out. From a gameplay standpoint, yeah, I heard it's really good. I also heard that it's too much Tiny Tina though. At the same time, like Borderlands, and then Borderlands 3, of course, which if you guys have listened to the show for a long time, you know that I really didn't like the game much at all. And I didn't think it was a very good game. Like I think it's frankly like it was a step backwards for the franchise, in my opinion. So Borderlands 4 comes in a period where I don't have a lot of faith in Gearbox and their ability to kind of make a Borderlands game that's actually good, because they've been very hit or miss, and it kind of makes me wonder, like, was Borderlands 2 a fluke? Was it like was it a game that came out at the exact right time where it forced them to design the game in such a way where it was actually great? You know, like they had design limitations that they had to have because of the hardware and stuff like that. Like it kind of makes me wonder that, and I'm wondering, but I'm also wondering maybe it's kind of an every other game series, you know, where like they make a great game every other game, you know, like Borderlands 2 was great, and maybe Borderlands 4 is the every other game where maybe this one will be great too, you know. I'm not sure. So I'm like, I'm interested, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not chomping at the bit or anything. I'll probably play the game when it comes out, because I do love Borderlands. Like I want a great Borderlands game. I'm not like against the franchise continuing or anything like that, but I just think I need to see the gameplay though. I need to see the characters. I need to see the character classes. Like, what are they doing with that stuff? I'm
I
like you. I think they kind of need to go backwards and kind of go in the middle ground and kind of make a Borderlands 2.5 style game, you know, where it's more ability focused rather than gun focused, you know.
and I think that's the problem there. Even when I was watching the making of the the Borderlands like movie and stuff like that, they said like, oh well, the big focus is the guns, and even Randy Pitchford told us that or something like that, and it's
Yeah.
just like, yes, in a way, the guns are a huge part of the franchise, and the quirky guns, the way they interact, and everything
And
of
that's
that
always been
nature.
the selling point. They
Yeah,
advertise that with Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 1. So
yeah. But
that's
Borderlands
fair,
2,
but
the build, in my opinion, once you got into it, it was more so your build with that particular weapon or gun
well, it
that
was
you
also
want.
the ability gameplay, right?
Yeah,
The ability every character had, with the exception of Axton, he was the worst character in the game. But with the exception of Axton, every other character, like their gameplay completely centered around their ability, you know?
yeah,
And obviously the guns were an important component to that gameplay, but they kind of you selected guns that like enhanced what your character's ability build did. Whereas Borderlands 3, I felt like was the complete opposite of that. It was all about the guns you were using, and your abilities were not really very important, you know.
yeah.
Um,
And that's what I don't want. I don't want gun porn. The game, like,
yeah,
and
right.
that's how I feel like Borderlands 3 is, and that's honestly what I feel like they're gonna go with Borderlands 4. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do a mix of both. But I don't want Borderlands gun porn. I want Borderlands, you know, build quality, ability focused with guns. And people are like, well, if you want that, play Destiny. And I was like, I don't like Destiny anymore though. So I don't know what to tell
Right.
y'all. Like.
Also, it's a totally different tone of game, right? Borderlands is like this wacky, goofy fucking
Yeah,
game. You know, Destiny
exactly.
is like this hyper serious space opera. Like, I don't, you know, it's two totally different sides of the spectrum. So, and also, I don't think the guns in Destiny are like, I don't know. I haven't played, so I don't, I don't want to say it
the,
out of
the the
ignorance, but
guns are unique. I will say they're not like super unique. Like when you reload, you can throw your gun at
yeah,
somebody because like a mini
you
grenade.
throw the fucking gun at him to reload. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's not like wacky like that, right?
I love that though. So those weapons are terrible, by the way. They're so bad. Like that was I think that was TDR was the manufacturer whose guns did that. It's such a funny concept though. You throw the gun and then a new gun materializes with a full clip. It's such a dumb idea.
I mean, that's what I mean, right? You can only get that with Borderlands. You can't get
Right,
that with
exactly.
Destiny.
That
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
So,
Right.
yeah, you're right. It's like two different tones and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm skeptically. I'm skeptical right now. I will say that I'm not like shitting
You
on
gotta
it,
win
and
us
I'm
back,
not.
right? You
Yeah,
gotta win us back.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So that's
So
where I'm at with it.
okay. Yeah. Well, 2025, we'll see. I'm sure we're going to get another trailer probably before the end of the year. I would imagine maybe at the Game Awards they do like a more like an actual gameplay trailer. So that'll be interesting to see. Story-wise, Borderlands in a horrible place. They made
Yeah,
a lot of
I
mistakes.
don't know where you go with this story.
I don't
I
either. I really don't know either. Because I mean, okay, I say that I do know, right at the end of 3, like I'm not gonna spoil the game, but like at the end of 3, they definitely set up another game for sure.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a space faring adventure that they set up for sure. But it's just that the status of all the characters and the characters you were with is just like not in a great place. Like I hated the cast by the end of the game. Like I didn't like anybody I was with, you know, and that's not a good place to be as the player. You know, a lot of the fan favorite characters like Mordecai and Brick were like nowhere to be seen in Borderlands 3, you know. And it was Lilith and you know, this
Roland.
the
Yeah.
new girl character that they introduced who was like the protege for Maya, and she was super fucking annoying, at least in the base game. So it's like I don't necessarily trust them with their storytelling anymore, which it's weird to say, right? A lot of people are going to sit here and say like, oh, you don't play in Borderlands for the story, but dude, like that's true to a degree, but like Tales from the Borderlands is a genuinely well told narrative, right?
Yeah.
Super fun, funny, has great moments, and is actually pretty heartfelt for the most part. And Borderlands 2 also, I'd say when the game decides, like when the story decides to kind of get serious and get real, it gets fucking real. Like it's not like completely just goofy funny all the time, you know? There are actually some serious like beats that happen in that game, and I think the story overall is well told there. So it's like they can do it. They can do it. They've done it in the past. It's just is this Gearbox capable of it? I don't know. Randy Pitchford's like the other thing with him is he doesn't understand the idea of restraint. You know, it's like I said, like, you know, we're gonna make a like, oh, everybody love Handsome Jack. You're gonna make a Handsome Jack game, which was the fucking pre-sequel, right? Everybody loves Tiny Tina, so you're gonna make the fucking Tiny Tina's Wonderlands game and shove it down our throats, right? And then you're gonna do Borderlands 3 where you have all these like celebrity fucking cameos that have no business being in the fucking game. You have a whole set piece around Penn and Teller for no fucking reason. Oh, just because Randy could get it, could do it, he did it. It's like, come on, man. It added nothing to the game. It's just like it's just this vapid fucking like you know, you're like vamping, you know, at a certain point. It's like, so don't do that shit in Borderlands 4, and then maybe we can get back to a point where the game is like semi-grounded at least, you know, somewhat. So I don't know. So we'll see. I think we both agree the series got to win us back. And I'm open to it. I'm not closed to it, you know, but we'll see what happens. So all right, moving on. Civ 7 was announced back at the Xbox showcase, I think, weirdly enough, back in June. But they teased a gameplay trailer in on at Gamescom on 8/20, and came out. It was about 20 to 25 minutes in length. And all right, so I've talked about Civ a bunch on the show and where I'm at with this franchise, and this trailer frankly didn't do a whole lot to get me excited about Civ 7. So they're doing a weird thing where they decided to significantly change up the formula, and they decided to take a mechanic from Humankind, which was a historical 4X that came out a few years ago that was significantly panned, like not well received at all. But that game's major conceit was they had a mechanic where over the course of the game, like you didn't play the same empire the entire game. So you didn't start the game as like America and you played as America the whole game. You start the game as a historically accurate civilization at 4000 BC or whatever time period they chose. And then you would like play that until you got to like 500 BC and you would become the Romans or something, and you would pick a civilization to change to with a new leader and everything. So Civ 7 is adopting this idea and making it a core tenet of the gameplay here, like a core pillar of this game. And the way they've described it is not super appealing to me. I think they're going to run into similar problems that Humankind did if they don't make some changes, because basically what they said was there's going to be 3 eras in the game: the Antiquity era, the Exploration era, and then the Modern era. And they're breaking the game down into those 3 eras. And when an era ends, the next era begins, you have to choose a new civilization to become. There's no choice in the matter. You have to make this choice. However, your leader will stay the same. So if you start the game as Egypt and then you become Rome later in the game, you still have the leader from Egypt, which is fucking weird. So they're decoupling leaders from civilizations, which I think is a weird change. I'm not really a huge fan of that, actually, because the game is supposed to be kind of some sort of historical simulator to some degree, but they actually said that's not what they're going for. So whatever, fuck me, I guess. But so you pick a new civ. There's going to be some kind of like giant event that happens between the eras that creates like a problem on the map that you have to get through. I don't know what that means. Like it could just mean like you have a period of unrest as your civilization is changing, and you kind of have to like deal with the revolts and shit like that. I don't know. They didn't detail it super deeply, but that will happen twice in the game as the eras change over. And I just think they first of all, the first thing I kind of came to with this is that there weren't enough eras. Like 3 eras is not enough time. Like to me, is not enough to like kind of count civilized human history, right? Like there should be some kind of, to me there should be, I almost feel like there should be 5 eras. There should be like a antiquity era or like an ancient era, and then you have like a kind of a classical era where you're kind of in the Roman Greece period where they're strong. And then I feel like there should be a dark ages period that happened in real human history of like literally like almost 1,000 years, where humanity went in this dark age period where like tons of human built-in knowledge was destroyed, written works were burned, things like all sorts of shit was lost. And this happened, and we almost went back. We pretty much went backwards in terms of like development. I think that should be represented in Civ, frankly. And then I think there should be a 4th era that is like the Renaissance slash exploration era as we come out of that dark age period. And then, then you have the modern era. And if you want to get more granular, you really could. The exploration era could be its own era. And then you could have like a colonial era. I guess that would be the exploration era, but there could be a 6th era that's like colonial period. That's like 200 or 300 years of human history. And then you have a modern era, which is the end period. So I just feel like they like broke it down into really simplistic terms, which they always do this with Civ. It's just like they never go deep enough for me. I feel like we're going to be missing a lot with that, and maybe that'll become clear to them as players play the game and kind of give them feedback. We'll see. They have obviously, they are historically, they always support Civ significantly with expansions and DLC and patches and stuff, so they're not afraid to change gameplay systems after the game is out. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there, but at first blush, this is kind of my impressions of this, is that I don't think it's going to be super well received. And I think they're taking a huge risk here. Frankly, like, I'm not saying I'm against change in Civ, but I just don't think Firaxis really like ever gets it. They get like 85% of the way there, and then they just fumble that last 15% like completely, And another thing they're doing is they're actually doing away with workers, which is interesting. So you're not gonna need workers anymore to build improvements on tiles, which is a huge change. That's been the case in Civ from Civ 1, as far as I know. So that's a huge change in the series. They're also changing the way population in your cities work. So when your population goes up, you actually get a new district, which they're changing the way districts work as well. You get a new district and you choose what tile to put that district in, but it needs to be adjacent to an existing district. So you can't like go 3 tiles out and put a district down. Like it has to have some kind of connection to your main city. So these are big changes with the game, and I'm not I don't know. Like I'm probably gonna play it when it comes out, but Civ 6 I quickly played and dropped, and it's like it's kind of a weird game. It's the Civ I put the least amount of time into, which is funny, given the fact that I think from a design standpoint, Civ 6 is really cool and interesting, but they made certain aspects of it like overly complicated, and the district system was one of those things where they went so complex with districts that I really didn't enjoy that aspect of the game after a while. So because you had to be so like predictive with where you put your districts. Like if you didn't put them in the right places, you wouldn't be able to build certain buildings later in the game or wonders later in the game, which is really kind of annoying because the game doesn't tell you this information early on. So it's like you kind of have to just know these things, or you have to go look for it, and it bogged the whole game down. So I'm hoping 7's not as like crazy as that. with some of that stuff. But in terms of the game's looks, like it looks great. I think the map looks awesome. The way cities are going to be looking in this game is actually really fucking cool. I love how sprawled out they are. And like I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to see later in the game. And kind of how they integrate with like some of the geography on the map, like some of the like waterfalls and mountains and stuff is really cool. So there's some really interesting stuff in the game. They also changed the graphical style as well. They're kind of going back to a more realistic look, away from the cartoonish look of Civ 6, which I think is appreciated as well. So, so yeah, and then they made some other changes, like combat units will kind of stay locked in combat when when you're at war with somebody, which is kind of cool. So they're not just going to be standing next to each other doing nothing. Like they'll actually be sitting there like attacking each other, which is kind of cool. That's an interesting change. It's purely aesthetic, but you know it's appreciated nonetheless.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be more revealed, but the game's coming early next year in February. And I'll certainly probably be playing it, and we'll have some thoughts when it does come out. So, but Montreal, have you ever played Civ before?
No, I have not played Civ.
Okay. If you ever do, I would really recommend you start with like I'd almost say start with Civ 5, as much as I don't like Civ 5 that much. It's the most simplistic version of Civ, and it's probably the best way to learn the series. But 4, in my opinion, was the peak of the series in terms of gameplay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it always piqued my interest because I mean, especially back in the day, I used to play because my cousin, she stayed with us for a while she was in college. I mean, she's like
Yeah.
much older. She's like maybe 5 or 6 years older than me, but she was actually the one that introduced me to like Well, I was playing StarCraft, and then she introduced me to like Age of Empires and all
Yeah.
those other
Yeah.
games and stuff like that. She used to play Civ. I never got to Civ because I was so much into Age of Empires, and Rise of Nations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did always want to get into Civ, but I just never got around to it.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna be honest. I think at this point for me, Civ is a multiplayer game. Like it's a lot of fun in multiplayer with other humans. I think playing against the AI is generally not been very engaging in the last couple iterations of the series because the AI has just gotten worse over time.
Okay.
And Firaxis has just not shown any propensity to like make the AI play well or like play better or use better tactics or anything like that. So, this would be I think this would be a really fun game for our group to play together. Like if like 6 of us were playing, we had like a giant game that was like a free for all. I think that would be really fucking fun actually. But outside of that, or playing, maybe 2 or 3 of us are playing and we have like a few AI players in the game. Like that's actually really fun too, as well. But so that would be the main way I think I would get like re-addicted to Civilization, is if we got really into it from a multiplayer standpoint.
Okay. Yeah, I may give it a try when I have some time. When I do get into it, I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have it, it goes on sale often on Steam. Like you can pick up Civ 4 for like $5 or $10 with everything on a Steam sale, usually. So same with 5 and 6 at this point is starting to get to that point as well. So it's easy to pick up. It's a very intimidating game. It takes a long time to really learn it. And not everybody's willing to put that effort in,
Yeah.
So yeah. But all right. Let's move on. Monster Hunter Wilds. We got a gameplay deep dive. It was like an hour and 45 minutes of gameplay. I think there was more than that too.
I only watched 30 minutes because, like you, I did not want to be spoiled. So
right. So I did watch it a bit though, and I wanted to talk to you about it because, man, this game looks crazy.
yeah.
So I will say, so you had mentioned no scout flies. I saw the scout flies later in the video, in the section I saw. So the tracking seems like, I don't know if this is just them showing off the game or what, because the monsters do show up on the map.
Okay, they do? Okay.
Yes, and it actually goes deeper than that, where the game will show you over a period of time where what monsters will appear and where they will be, and you can like select the time of day you want to be in, and stuff like
Mm.
that. So that is interesting. And I actually think, as much as maybe we might not be tracking the way we want and stuff like that, that will introduce a layer of kind of searching out the monster you're looking for, that may make it still feel like, the hunting we want,
Yeah, so I gotta watch it over again. I don't know. I thought the tracking flies were probably there because they marked the monster already with the paintball. I think that would be a good middle ground for us because like we
Yeah.
want to feel like we're tracking the monsters. But I just don't want the scout flies there. Like I like the early parts of World where we were, gathering, clues and footprints and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and then we can
Yeah.
track the monster. I thought that was pretty cool. But then as you progress, I guess as a hunter, their whole thing is like you know where the monster's going to be at now because you've hunted this monster for so many times. So your natural instinct is how to hunt this monster, which I
Yeah.
understand from that perspective, but from a gameplay perspective, it I guess gets tedious, and I guess you don't want to track the monster every time you're hunting a monster. So
Well,
it's like a middle ground.
what about this as a middle ground, as a compromise? Is they actually make it a skill that you have to level up over the course of the game. Where
Okay, I
early in the
can.
game you start out and you're really bad at tracking, and as you learn and you fight monsters and you track them, you level the skill up and it gets a little easier, gets a little easier, and then eventually you get to the point where it's like normal, like what Monster Hunter is now, where you just know where the monster is when the hunt starts. Like that eventually, like, you kind of have a progression you have to go through, right? I feel like that would be a good compromise, maybe, in future iterations of the game. I mean, we don't know exactly how it's going to work. Like I said, I didn't watch the whole video. I kind of jumped between some sections and watch pieces of it. Um, so it could be a little bit more involved than I'm thinking here. But
Yeah, it could be. Um, I don't know, man. Monster Hunter is very weird because, well, I'll keep it to the game first. I think the game looks really fucking cool. I actually like the horseback or the mounting mechanic or riding your
yeah,
whatever you're
secret,
riding.
I think,
That's what's called secret or whatever.
or secret.
Uh,
Yeah, it's like SEIKRET, I think is what it's called.
okay. I'm just gonna call it the mount. Like you're riding your
Yeah,
mount and you can actually have mounted combat now, which I think is really cool.
yeah,
I kind of figured that's where they're gonna go with the franchise because I didn't want mounted combat in Rise, but I'm like, it would be cool if I can just like stay on the fucking the palamute while I'm chasing this monster down
right,
instead of like jumping off
right.
and doing an attack or whatever. So I think that's actually pretty cool. I actually like the focus attack skill or mechanic they have in there.
Okay, I wanted to talk about that. So I was watching this, and one of them was using dual blades when he was using focus mode,
Yeah.
and it looked like it enabled you to maintain your facing but reposition yourself, like, sidestep and stuff, kind
Hmm.
of similar to in Worlds. You could do that with Sword and Shield, but it was like the only weapon I think you could do that with. It seems like you might be able to do that with others now with this focus mode, which is a
Yeah.
really cool thing. Like, that's an awesome change.
Yeah. I actually like it. That you can do that, and I think this solves what they were trying to do with Clutch Claw. Because I think they really wanted you to focus on certain things, and the Clutch
Yeah.
Claw was supposed to be that, but it wasn't a good mechanic at
Right.
all.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
this like makes them glow, right? Like when you wound
yeah,
a monster, it makes that part glow and you can see it. Like, it's very
yeah,
obvious when you have the focus mode on.
yeah. So I think this is the answer to that. Which I am glad. I mean, I also read that this game took 5 years to make, and they were very antsy on making the game because they did not know. And this is the one thing I don't fault them over, right? So in the interview, I should have linked the article in here. In the interview, the Monster Hunter creator was like, "We didn't know where to go with Monster Hunter World because we didn't know what the new players wanted compared to the old players."
Yeah.
And let me tell you, as an old player, I don't even know what the old players want. I go to the subreddit, bro, and their Monster Hunter players are worse than Dark Souls players. They are masochists, bro. They got upset over quality of life changes that I thought were genius. You can go back to the camp and change your weapon if you're doing like a multi hunt. Wow, cool. No, man, I didn't want that. It was so strategic. You gotta pick your weapon. You gotta know what you're doing. Okay, I want underwater combat back. Okay, and then oh, you can re um re-equip your weapons. Not re-equip your weapons. What's the word I'm looking for?
Change your
No,
change
your
what?
items. Like your
Oh, refresh your items. Yeah.
refresh your items. You can refresh and restock your items too as well quickly. You set the hotkeys for it, and you can do it when you go back to the camp. And people actually hated that. Some people hate that, and I was just
Yeah.
like, okay. So just browsing the Reddit, and not even the Reddit, like the Twitters and everything like that. I can understand why developers for Monster Hunter in particular are very anti because they unfortunately they did create this unbeknownst to them. They created this sect of a, a division in the Monster Hunter community when they went from generations to world. Right,
Yeah.
you have people who still like the old version of generations or the old version of Monster Hunter. They want Gen. I'm gonna call it just Gen 1 Monster Hunter, even though it's not Gen 1 technically. Um, they want that, and then you got this new version of Monster Hunter that a lot of the new players enjoy, and some of the veterans. But then a lot of the old veterans like, this isn't Monster Hunter, this isn't Monster Hunter, or whatever. And then I think Rise was a good compromise, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To its dismay, I think I can speak for both of us when we say we liked Rise, but it wasn't the best Monster Hunter in our arsenal that we
It was
liked.
just it was arcadey Monster Hunter.
Yeah. That's a good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, there you go. It's arcadey Monster Hunter. And I think Monster Hunter shines at its best when it's trying to do a little bit of both, right?
Yeah. Right.
Generations is very arcadey, but like you're at the end of you're at the end of
That
what it
engine, yeah, it's
yeah,
like, yeah, right.
so you can take some liberties. And I think Rise was trying to be like, the middle ground and everything, but it just wasn't what I wanted. I really wanted a more deep, satisfying Monster Hunter like world, just a little bit more movement, and I wanted the armor to be a little bit more better in world, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, the armor in for the women, for the female hunters in Rise was fucking atrocious.
They're doing away with the gendered armor, by the way.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Fucking
Thank God.
great. Thank you. It's good. That's good news.
I don't. One thing I don't understand, right, is there still going to be a hub, or is it just out in the world now? And then
no, I
are there
think
going to
there's
be
I think
different
there is a hub.
locales? Okay.
I think there's a hub. I don't know if they showed it necessarily. But I think they mostly showed like camps and stuff that you can go
they
into.
did.
But I would assume, yeah, there's gonna be some city you go to. There might even be multiple for all we know. Which would be very interesting. But the open world seemed pretty big too. It had multiple levels. There was like an underground in the level they were showing us, which is
Okay.
very interesting. So that was cool. One other thing I want to call out too, a new thing with the health bar. I don't know if you saw this piece. There's kind of like a biorhythm effect happening with the health bar. So when an enemy is attacking you and you're about to take a hit, the bar will kind of I don't know how to say this, like it'll get more frantic. I guess the biorhythm will get more like, like it'll be faster,
Yeah.
And it'll flash red if you're about to take an ability that's gonna like knock you down.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it's that's kind of a cool change. It's an interesting change which gives you a little bit of insight into kind of some of the attacks you're about to take, and like how powerful they might be. But so that's an interesting change as well. But I think the combat looked really good though. The dual blades gameplay I saw,
Yeah, I knew you were gonna like the
I
dual
was
blades.
I was excited. Okay, it looked like it was a little deeper than World, which because World dual blades in World was so fucking basic, dude. It was like
Yeah.
it was literally like you just go into Archdemon mode and you just do the combo, and that's it. And like if you're going down a hill, you slide down a hill and you do like the twirly move over the monster's body, and that's what you do. That was kind of the gameplay for dual blades.
Well, did you see that
World.
they kind of incorporated a little bit of generations into the move sets? Like you have the adept style where you can like do that special dodge and everything like that.
I don't think I saw that part.
Yeah, so I was watching it and certain people were doing the adept dodge. You remember how you can your dodge have extra invincibility frames and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some people were
Yeah.
going into brave stance. It looks like so I or the valor stance. It's brave in Japan and then valor over here. The valor stance or whatever. Certain weapons
Okay.
were doing that. So it looks like they're still trying to slowly incorporate like what we always wanted, right? We always wanted just generations over into worlds. I
Yeah.
thought the hunter styles were like very cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're slowly doing that with Monster Hunter in general. I think Rise did a good job at incorporating that, and it looks like they're bringing that over to Wilds as well. Um,
Yeah.
I actually like I like my main weapon is the hammer, and I like how simplistic it is. I'm a very simple guy. I'm a very simple hunter. I see the head and I want to bash it. So that's my job as the fucking
Yeah.
hammer guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
me see the head, me bash it. I'm very caveman like as far as that.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't need all my little
I
arch
see. I'm a
demon
dual blade.
modes.
I'm a blades player. So I see a tail. I want to cut it off, man.
No man, you're complicated. I gotta go to arch demon mode, guys. Oh my god, look at this.
Oh
Look at
yeah.
my
I
super.
mean, if you're not constantly in Arch Demon mode, you're playing the weapon wrong.
And then Jet's even more complicated with his fucking insect glaive, and I gotta hit certain parts of my fucking
oh my
insect.
god. Yeah, they're fucking jumping in the air, like pole vaulting. You're like pushing off the air to jump higher. It's fucking nonsense. Like I don't even.
Yeah, so yeah, I think the game looks really fucking cool. I'm sorry, y'all, that I didn't watch too much more. I don't want to get spoiled in the game. I know it's not coming into like maybe April 2025. But yeah, like this game
That's
looks really
soon
fucking.
though, dude. That's like 8 months from now. It's not even
That
that
is
far. That's
that's
not far
true.
away. Like,
That's true. It's gonna come. It's gonna
yeah,
sneak right up on us actually.
yeah, man,
Uh,
dude.
but yeah, like I don't know. One thing I did read too for the article for Wilds and everything like that is they always wanted the game to be like he said from the opening trailer that he saw because he wasn't on the team. I think when Monster Hunter, like the very first Monster Hunter came out in 2004, and
Yeah,
he said from the opening trailer he always wanted Monster Hunter to be like this ecosystem. And that's how they show it in the actual opening trailer, right? And that's how
yeah,
I always wanted Monster Hunter to be as well. And Wilds is it's finally giving me that. Worlds is what I thought it was going to be. They gave me a little bit of that. It obviously was always the resources, right? And now they said Capcom allowed them and gave them the time and the resources to do that. And it looks like Wilds is really going to be like this is a thriving ecosystem that
yeah,
you're jumping into. And I don't know, that's what I really wanted, man. Like I really just want to feel immersed in the world. Like
yeah.
I love the arcadey version of Monster Hunter, but I think this version is going to turn a lot of people off who are like into Wilds, in my opinion. Whose first game was Wilds, because this is going to be like,
You mean World
yeah, this is
or
going to be no, why? I'm sorry, not Wilds, but Rise rather.
Rise? Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah, because a lot of people started playing the Rise as well.
This game will be slower than Rise for sure.
Yes, for sure. And so I want to talk about the actual like locale they were in, right? So
Yeah.
do you think there are going to be multiple locales, or do you think
Yes.
it's just going to be
100%.
one big locale that they kind of expand upon, like as you go through the story?
Like it's one integrated open world and like
Yeah,
there's no loading screens. That part is not clear to me. I'm not sure. From what they showed when we saw the map, it didn't look like it was connecting to anything necessarily, but I don't even think we were seeing the full map though, and it had
yeah. I
multiple,
mean,
it
they
had
did
multiple
say,
levels.
yeah, they
So
did say that. So they did say this wasn't the entire map. So
we'll
I'm,
see. Because yeah, I want it to be fully open world. If it's zones though, and they're just humongous, that's not necessarily horrible either. But
yeah,
I will maybe be a little disappointed, but we'll see. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I don't think they showed enough for us to really make a judgment there of what that's going to look like. So
yeah, yeah.
But I will say, regardless, I think this game is going to be absolutely fucking massive. Like, I'm just gonna say it now. I think this is gonna be the biggest Monster Hunter ever, probably.
I do like that they didn't show. It looks like they're going to be more diverse as far as the monsters they show. The monsters we're getting on release. It's not going to be a whole bunch of fucking dragons and lizards. Like it's going to be like herbivores and mammals.
Like they showed it. I don't think they showed a single lizard. Or actually, there was one. There was like a wyvern. There was like a wyvern.
I think that's the new flagship for Wilds. The little electric one. Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, Monster looked fucking sick though.
It did. It did.
That one looked really cool. So
yeah. But yeah, I also do like that there's not going to be any. I already know people were saying. So another thing, like this game, it's I don't know what video games was becoming, Justin. Like maybe we're just getting old, bro. Like so obviously the hunters and your helpers and everything like that, right? I personally, except for in like Rise, I thought the little twin girls, the twin women, like the one that had the shield and sword with you in Rise, that was like your companion. I thought she was kind of hot, but like I've never been like, oh my god, these characters are like hot, like I've never really been into the women like that in Monster Hunter at all. I don't necessarily. So that was the thing when this game came out, or they tried to make it a thing. They're like, "Oh, look at the women! DEI is taking over again, and we can have hot women in Monster Hunter." And I'm like, have they always been hot though? I mean, and people are like pointing at that one girl with the fucking weird hair ponytail shit or whatever, and I'm like, yeah she's kind of hot, like cool, but like I don't know. I just never really been attracted to them.
I mean, I said this when the trailer came out. It was like I don't think Monster Hunter's really ever had great character models, and I don't think they look that great here either. Like I don't know. So
it was better than they did before, but
they definitely do. But I don't like they're not at like the Last of Us level or something like that. You know, it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That was just a weird little thing I saw, like making its rounds.
I think people just want to be thirsty, bro. That's it.
Well, I think they want to be thirsty, and they also want they want manufactured outrage. Like they want to make people want to make video games so political, and I'm just like, bro, can we just like stop, please?
But part of me is starting to wonder, like, how much of this shit is even genuine? Like, are these real people even saying these things, or are they?
I think they're grifters.
Is this like a bot, like trying to fucking rile people up because it generates outrage, which then generates fucking revenue? Like,
I think it's grifting. I think people are just like they're doing like they're generating. I don't think it's a bot. I think it's like actual people who are like, I need more content for my game or my YouTube channel. So look at this female. This female character model is ugly now. Oh, and it's like, bro, you probably never sniffed a woman before in your entire fucking life. So it's like, so I don't know. So I definitely don't want that to muddy my Monster Hunter. I thought Monster Hunter was like one of the few games where this shit didn't matter because all we want to do is kill the fucking monster. We had that one little run in with PETA before, and that was it. That closes itself. So I don't know, but this Monster Hunter looks really good. I am going to go on the record and say I'm going to get my fucking sworn oath I made earlier this year, saying like I'm never buying the Monster Hunter. The G rank comes out. No, I'm buying this shit. Like,
I think we'll do that with the next handheld one if it's like Rise,
Yeah.
But dude, I'm still watching the stream though while you're talking, and dude, the bow looks fucking sick. Actually, he did this thing where he shot the monster with some kind of like I don't know balloon or something, and then his arrows like homed in, like they like fucking curved into the monster, which was pretty fucking sick. But then right after that, he's in his menus running around, like just running straight, like while the monster's like fucking attacking him and shit. It just looks so it's still Monster Hunter. And then he tried to put a trap down, and a second monster came and hit the trap, not the one he was actually trying to trap. So I really have to say I appreciate Capcom like showing this game as it is. Like it really looks like they didn't try to like butter it up or obfuscate the way the game, like the current state of the game or anything, which is not common. I got to give them a lot of credit for that. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. The game looks great. It looks like what I want out of a Monster Hunter, and I don't know, DJ man. I know you didn't get into it before, but we will carry you, brother. We will show you the light into this game, man. Like
absolutely.
this game's like,
You know what? How about this? How about maybe this isn't a fair trade, but if I'm gonna watch 3 Sonic movies to come watch Sonic with you, DJ, I feel like you're gonna have to play Monster Hunter.
Ooh, that's a good trade off.
Like
That's a good
try
trade
it.
off.
At least try it. You know.
And when we say try it, you have to give it at least 20 hours, bro. At least 20 hours.
That's totally a fair trade. 100% fair trade. 5 hours of movies for 20 hours of video games.
Yes. Because I don't think you'll get the full aspect of Monster Hunter in 5 hours. You got to at least like.
I agree. I mean, we'll be in the tutorial probably still.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially for this one.
He's gonna get addicted, and then he's gonna want to hunt monsters, and then he's gonna get his little builds, and it's gonna be fucking crazy. He's probably gonna play something off the wall. Like he's probably gonna play the fucking hunting horn. I know he is. He's gonna. He
feels like a hunting horn player, actually.
Yeah,
that feels like a good. That feels like a good one for him.
Yeah.
And then we'll have Jet jump around, you know, like a fucking pole dancer.
It was funny hearing Jet say, like, I don't really know if I like the game. I have hundreds of hours in the game. You like the game, bro. You just don't know you like it. You like the game.
I don't actually think he has hundreds of hours though. Like, did he really play it that?
I think he said. I think he said he played Rise that much, either Rise or World. I think it was Rise.
Well, he played Rise all the way with us, pretty much.
Yeah,
what I remember. So on the stream, they were cooking a meal, and the hunter had made a steak, and he put a fucking giant knife in it and just grabbed it and ate it in 3 bites, like a whole steak. Oh, I love it, man. Oh my god, this series is so good. I don't know. This game looks fucking phenomenal. It's I mean, yeah, we're gonna have it soon, so I'm very excited about that. But all right, we're getting bogged down. We still got a lot to get through. So let's move on, Montrell, to the next announcement. This was it during the opening night. Was a trailer for a new show from Amazon called Secret Level, and it is going to be kind of a short story anthology series of a bunch of different video game IP. And some of the IP included here that will have an episode featuring them are Armored Core, Concord, Crossfire, Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World, Eternum, Pac-Man. We saw God of War in there, Sifu, Spelunky, The Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, and Warhammer 40K. So, very interesting assortment of IP, but Montrell, I mean, this is a really interesting idea, don't you think?
It's from the people that made Love, Death, and Robots. So I think this is like really up their alley. I'm super stoked that they're doing this shit, man. I loved Love, Death, and Robots. I thought it was one of the best anthology series that come off Netflix, in my opinion. Yeah. And I'm glad they're actually taking on video game IPs. I would actually rather people do more of this with video game IPs than actually making full-fledged TV series or something like that, right? I think that would be really cool.
Well, this might be a good way to like test the waters with different IP, right? Like each episode's almost like a pilot, you know, sort of.
Do you remember Cartoon Network when they did that with? I don't know if you watch Cartoon Network like that, but like they did it with Cartoon, and a lot of
I do remember that.
And a lot of the pilots, like they showed Dexter's Laboratory there, they showed Powerpuff Girls and Cow and Chicken, and all those became full-fledged series off of Cartoon. And like you said, this could be that pilot for them, you know. The ones that pop off and people love, they make a series out of it in that same style and stuff like that.
Yeah. So no, I think it's a cool concept. It is coming out this year too. It's going to be out in December. So, or at least start coming out in December. I don't think they're going to release all the episodes at once, but yeah, that I don't know. It looks really cool. I think I'm excited to see it. I'm definitely gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a shot personally.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, not a whole lot more to say here. I guess we'll discuss it on the show when we do watch it for sure. And yeah, just seeing Kratos though was fucking crazy, dude. Like that one little flash of him, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? It's weird, interesting. But Concord being one of the IPs though in here is funny because that is like that was a deal that was struck probably like a couple years ago at a minimum.
Yeah. They're like, oh, this game's
PlayStation.
gonna be fucking huge, man. We gotta get in there.
Yeah, man. Oh my god, we're gonna talk about it later, but yeah, that feels like a womp womp situation. So, but all right. Anything else on this one?
No, sir.
All right,
Come on, let's
move
get to
on.
your Heroes Might and Magic, man. Come on, let's go. I'm looking at
Amen.
the gameplay right
All
now.
right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So this came, dude. I was at the airport on Thursday when this trailer came out, and I was literally eating umami burger, and I'm looking at my phone, and I see Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era announced at Gamescom, and I'm like, what? What the what? Ubisoft announced a new Heroes game, and I look at it, and I'm like, I mean, it's got to be a mobile game, right? It's probably some dumb mobile game or some shit. So I watched the trailer and watched the whole thing, and it's a Heroes of Might and Magic game that is in the Heroes timeline, like the actual mainline games timeline, and it is a prequel to the original games. It takes place before Heroes 1, I believe, Heroes of Might and Magic 1. So it's back in Arathia, which is the original world that the series took place in. And then at the end of Heroes 3, this isn't like a story spoiler really, because it doesn't happen in the game. It happens between the games. It's kind of an off-screen thing, but the world basically ends, and they go to a new planet. Basically, that's what happens in Heroes 4, and that the series continues from there in that place, as far as I know. So they're back in the original Arathia world setting, and yeah, it's not a mobile game. It's a PC game, like a PC exclusive game, and it's gonna have it looks like it's gonna have a lot of the original races from the old games. Particularly, it looks like they're really modeling this off Heroes Might and Magic 3. They have a lot of the towns from that game in this. They are adding one, it looks like, that is kind of their own creation, which is going to be some kind of demonic insectoid race, which is interesting. But um I'm not like over the moon, like losing my mind, right? Like, I'm surprised by this. I'm definitely excited by what I saw. Like, I'm giving Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt here to impress me. The world map looked really good. The combat map looked really good. I think the towns certainly need some work for sure. They didn't look great from what I saw, but but it looks like a good game. Like, it actually looks like a game I want to play, and I'm excited by that fact. So I'm intrigued to see what this, how this does. Like, when it comes out, I'm definitely gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it for sure. Can it replace Heroes of Might and Magic 3 for me? Probably not. That is a really tall.
Oh my
That's a
God.
really high bar. That's a really high bar to hit. Like, Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is literally my favorite game of all time, straight up. Like, it's the number one game. If I was ranking my favorite games, it is the number one game. So crossing that bar is going to be very difficult for them to do. Probably impossible, right? But I'm encouraged by what I saw, though, and I think a lot of the community, interestingly, similarly, feels the same way. There are a lot of jaded people, though, who like don't trust Ubisoft at all, for good reason. I mean, they have not treated this IP with respect since they've acquired it, and it's kind of hard to believe that they finally, like, somebody at Ubisoft finally fucking woke up and was like, oh, we should actually do this right. That's kind of hard to believe at this point after fucking 20 years of this bullshit they've been doing with it. So I don't know, we'll see. But the team working on it, I've read some of the interviews with them. They definitely seem like they kind of understand it. They get it. At least they understand what they should be doing, and they have a good vision, it sounds like, for the game. So yeah, I mean, the cool thing about this is that if it's good, this does give us an opportunity for them to kind of expand the game after launch if it does well enough, right? Like and like have expansions, add some new races, maybe new creatures, new types of heroes and stuff like that, maybe new spells. And we could actually have like a modern Heroes of Might and Magic game that kind of could be massive. That is a cool thought. So, but yeah, no, I mean, this is a Justin game to end all Justin games. Like dude, I've tried to show this game to you guys so many times, and you guys are like, "What the fuck is happening? Like, what is even going on?" Like, you guys just don't get it. You don't understand. It's fine, but Montrell, does this look appealing to you at all?
This one actually does. Like,
Okay,
this
I
one does
mean,
look really cool to me.
brother, I need you to try Heroes of Might and Magic 3, okay? Like, once you start playing it and you start understanding the game, like, dude, it's so fucking fun. When I'm playing it, I'm so accustomed to playing the game. I'm playing so fast. Like I know exactly what I'm doing constantly. Like, I don't even think about my moves half the time. I just know exactly where I want to go. Most of the time. So it's like, but as a new player, like, dude, you'd have to absorb all the mechanics. There's like so many layers to the game going on there. I don't know. I just wish one of you would try it, and then maybe we could play multiplayer because that would be fucking sick. But yeah, no, I mean it does look good. Like, this is a modern take on it though, so we'll see. But I mean, if you like it, will you play it with me? Do some multiplayer?
Yes, I will.
All
Definitely.
right, we gotta get Jed into this. We gotta get Jed to try this as well. But yeah, it looks like I don't think they didn't give like a release window or anything like that. But I'm gonna anticipate it's gonna be next year, probably like mid to late in the year, something like that. So we'll see. Hopefully I'm right. But all right, let's move on. Watch our next story. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So this game got a release date in December. I don't remember the exact date for Xbox, but it was revealed that the game is coming to PlayStation 5 and it's coming in spring of 2025. So all bets are off now, dude. Like, I mean, these games are coming. Like, PlayStation 5, they're getting the Xbox games. I mean, it's done. Like, it's just kind of a matter of time depending on the franchise, I feel like, at this point. No? Like,
yeah. Yeah. I think Xbox is about to go third party, in my opinion. I think they're gearing up for it.
one more hurrah, and then if that doesn't work. I mean, this is kind of their somebody said this, I heard this on a podcast the other day, this is kind of their Wii U moment, like leading into the Switch, but we don't know what's going to happen, right? Like, we don't know if they're going to be successful or not. Like, because remember when the Wii U was ending, like, everybody was like, man, Nintendo's done. They're going third party, man. No more hardware if the Switch doesn't succeed. And then, I mean, here we are now, and like that, nobody even talks about that anymore, right?
The problem is Xbox doesn't have the vision that Nintendo does.
Right.
Sometimes Nintendo, and I mean, obviously, this is how we got the Wii U and the Wii U, or the Wii and the Wii U. Their vision is too advanced, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Or the technology is not there. Because I thoroughly believe, right, the Wii U was supposed to be the Switch.
Right. They just didn't have the technology to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. For the Xbox, they didn't. Okay, they did. So you're right. This is actually their Wii U moment, but it's going for 2 generations though, and I guess.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, you can say the same thing about Nintendo though. Like, the Wii waned significantly in its latter half,
but it's so much. It keeps. Not only but listen. Not only did they have the Wii, but they had the 3DS carrying the fuck out of them.
That's true. They had the handheld vertical, like, kind of parallel. As well.
That's true. I guess you can say, like, well, PC is like, Nintendo, or is Xbox is like carrying. Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah,
so the problem is they have been scrambling since 2013, right? And the problem is they should have had Phil Spencer in 2013. That's the reality of the situation, right? I think he would have been a great person to have before they made the calls they made in 2013. They should have made that transition from Don Matrix uh to Phil and then develop the Xbox One. But unfortunately they didn't. And now they're playing catch up. And Sony is just so far ahead right now because that's their main competitor, to be honest with you. Sony is just so far ahead right now that it's hard to you. Not only did you lose your core fan base to PlayStation 4, but you lost the overarching fan base, your PC fan base, and everything like that
Right.
to PlayStation and Nintendo for the PC in particular, right? Um, so, and to be honest with you, this is when the 2013 to 2015 era, that's when a lot of people start building PCs because a lot of them didn't want to go to fucking PlayStation. And I exclusively I remember this vividly online forums and everything like that. People were just like, I'm going to build a PC, bro. I like this DRM shit is crazy. And I might as well just build a PC at this point, you know, because people are like, well, DMR is on Steam. That's like, yeah, I might as well just build a fucking PC at this point because my Xbox, you know, is doing this shit and it's TV and sports, and I'm not really a PlayStation guy and everything of that nature. So I say all that to say, like, you know, Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation makes sense from a business standpoint. And um I don't know. I don't know. They need better leadership, man. They to pull a comeback, to pull a switch like comeback, you have to have better leadership. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
No, for
um,
sure.
and I don't think I just don't feel like Xbox's leaders at the moment uh have that vision in them right now.
I
They're
don't even
still
think they're. I don't even think they're in control, dude.
yeah, I still think they're thinking with uh shareholders in mind instead of like the gamers. And I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, Nintendo thinks that way too. But I think they think more they have a balance, I would say. Whereas with Xbox and even PlayStation to some degree, uh they more so go if PlayStation is 60-40 with like 60% thinking of the shareholders and 40% of the gamers, Xbox is 70-30. It's like
Yeah.
or 80-20. 80% shareholders and 20% of the gamers, you know.
Right.
And that's a very bad position to be in my opinion.
Hmm. Well, what about the game? Are you excited for Indiana Jones?
It looks good. I'm not going to buy it first day, but it looks very good though.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let it wait. I'm gonna wait till it comes out on PS5 probably.
Yeah.
But it does look good. Like I didn't realize this in the first trailer though that I think Troy Baker's playing Indiana Jones. Which I'm like, God damn it, man! Like, it's like his voice is just it's so fucking recognizable at this point, you know.
Yeah.
He's at the point that like Nolan North was back when Uncharted was popular, you know, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's getting a little much, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but definitely looks like an interesting game. So we'll see how it does. All right, our next story. This one's a weird one, but I couldn't help but put it in the news when I saw it because these games were like a huge part of my youth. So the backyard sports games are coming back, and they are being developed by a studio called Playground Productions, and they announced with a short like 40-second trailer that they're bringing this franchise back. And I'm gonna be honest, like this isn't like big news or anything like that really, but man, for me the backyard sports games were the fucking shit when I was a kid, dude. Like backyard baseball was my fucking jam, dude. Backyard football, these games were so fun. They were just like kind of goofy animated sports games, but um the funny part about it is I know I play them a shitload. I barely remember what the gameplay even looks like. Like I probably would need to go watch a video, but I just remember that I fucking loved them when I was a kid, you know? So,
Yeah.
but a modern take on this could be actually genuinely interesting, to be honest, because depending on like what they decide to do with the gameplay, I'd be interested to try them out, you know?
I mean, you know what this sounds like this looks like to me though? I think the industry recognizes they need to get kids back. And this
Yeah.
looks like their attempt to get like kids back into the video game industry. I think.
Mm.
I mean, because you said it, you played it as a kid and stuff like that, and
Well,
it
it
looks
stuck with
very
me too.
exactly. And I think this is a way to get. They're trying to just get more kids back, get them off the Fortnites and everything like that, and get them to actual games and stuff like that. Because I mean, Fortnite can only carry the industry and kids for so long.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's actually a really good point, right? I think a lot of these games, because do you remember like Putt Putt and like Freddy Fish, like the adventure games from back in the day?
Yeah,
Yeah, like games like that. Like, dude, we don't have games like that anymore. There really aren't games like that made for kids. And I think that's a shame. Because to your point, honestly, kids just get into Fortnite or they play mobile games. Nowadays, which I think is really unfortunate because I just don't think those games they're not designed for them to take anything out of it, right? They're designed to get their parents' wallets open, to buy fucking microtransactions and shit. Which is not a great experience, I think, for kids to grow up with, frankly. Um, and I do think the modern gaming industry is not, I don't think is super welcoming for kids. So, which is kind of interesting that it's because all these other games are taking the attention of kids away, like Fortnite and these live service games. But like we were talking about, how the core gaming audience really hasn't grown, and it's like I think that's where people should be though if you're gonna like grow up as a gamer. So it's really unfortunate. So I don't know. I hope more stuff like this happens and comes back. You know. All right. Let's move on. Our next story. Another game. Crazy big, baby. Everybody remember Infinity Nikki from I think it was the last state of play when
yeah,
this game was announced.
yep.
And to our credit, Montrell, we both picked this game out and we're like, this actually looks kind of good. you know? And damn, a lot of people agree with us because this game has over 12 million pre-registered players. 12 fucking million. So Infinity Nikki, just to remind everybody, was this is like it looks like an open world. People are describing it as a cozy open world game. It's kind of like a dress up game somewhat. But there is there is some light combat elements, it looks like, to the game and exploration and stuff like that. Yeah, this Nikki series is a series of I believe mostly mobile games.
Yeah,
And they're mobile dress up games that have been around for about 12 years, and they are actually extremely successful. So
and it's
this is their
nothing like perverted, by the way. It's
correct,
yeah,
right?
it's nothing
Which is
perverted, by the way.
actually a breath of fresh air, I will
Yeah,
say.
because when people
And
think dress up games, they probably think like, oh, are you getting them naked? Like this is actually like Disney princess level type shit. Like
exactly,
it's not perverted at
yes,
all.
it is not perverted. Which is very refreshing in this space, right?
Yep.
And this is their first foray into consoles, and goddamn, it looks like they are primed for success. With 12 million people pre-registered. That's just pre-registrations, which is nuts. So yeah, we'll Montreal, I mean, are you still interested in the game? Like do
I
you
mean,
think
it's
you
a
might
little
actually
bit
play it?
it's a little bit too weird for me, to be honest with you. Like I don't say
We probably shouldn't be playing this.
yeah, like it looks like if I play it and my wife walks in and be like, "Are you a pedophile?" type shit. Right? So like I would I don't think I would have played it, but I would understand if other people would play it. Like it looks like a genuine like
Yeah.
oh I played with dolls or whatever when I was younger, whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
and I want to play this type of game. And that's those are the type of people who's gonna like target it, and I think that's why it does have so many pre-registers because we also have to remember like I think like the numbers came out like 45% of gamers now are women. So I
Yeah.
mean these 12 million registers could be 9 million women playing this fucking game. I
Yeah.
mean, so I mean the cozy franchise, or not cozy franchise, but the genre rather, it stems from other stuff like you get it cozy adventure game, cozy farm simulator type deal, whatever, dominated by women. Like dominate. I mean, my wife fucking plays Stardew Valley like nobody's fucking business, right? Um, and then I know other women who
Yeah.
play like Animal Crossing. They love Animal Crossing. I'm pretty sure half the demographic of Animal Crossing, or 60% of the Animal Crossing, is nothing but women playing that fucking game. So
Mm.
this game doing these type of numbers kind of makes sense in that way, and that's why another reason why I don't think the numbers are like from a perverted standpoint. I think people are really just genuinely looking for a game they can cozy up to and play. Like, it doesn't look hard, it looks
Mhm.
cute, it looks fun. I can sit back on the couch and play it or whatever. I mean, I won't play it, but other people will probably play it or whatever. It'd probably be a guilty pleasure for a lot of guys, in my opinion. Like, they play it
Yeah.
when they're at home alone or some shit like that.
One thing I will say, just to warn people, this series, I'm trying to find out like completely, but it seems like it has gotcha elements. So I don't know if
Yes.
this game will have gotcha elements as well. So that's a turn off for me, probably. So, but so keep that in mind if you are thinking of playing the game. Um, you might have to roll to get your sweet, pretty dresses for this game. So, all right, Montreal, let's move on. Let's talk about on the other side of the spectrum. The opposite of what we would call success is Concord. Man, so this game came out officially last week on Friday, and oh boy, it's not doing well. It did not break 700 players on Steam when it launched, like 700 concurrents. We don't know how it's doing on PlayStation, but um I think it was like the 40th ranked game on the PlayStation bestsellers list digitally. So uh I think it's safe to say that this game is definitely flopping pretty hard, and it's unfortunate because I think there's probably a fun game here, gameplay wise, but man, the marketing was such a huge whiff, you know.
Yeah. Um. First of all, this game took 8 years to make.
Yeah,
Um.
oh my god, yeah,
So you have to think where the industry was at in 8 years ago, and I put it in the
right.
chat, but I'll put it here on the podcast too. When this game was being developed, or first being pitched, Guardians of the Galaxy just happened like a year before, I think.
It was 2 years. Yeah, it
Overwatch,
was 24. It was 2014.
yeah. So I think a lot of people were still on the Guardians of the Galaxy high. Overwatch just came out, um, and everything of that nature. So I think the development idea was cool back in 2016. The
Right.
problem is it's 2024, and we've had a slew of you know uh Guardians of the Galaxy clones and Overwatch clones, and people are burnt out. So you take these two elements that people are kind of burnt out on, and the superhero element as well. Because this gives me like Marvel vibes for some reason. I don't know if it gave you Marvel vibes, but it gave me Marvel vibes for some
Definitely.
reason.
Yeah, I mean, it was clear the Guardians of the Galaxy inspiration was
Yeah.
very clear.
So you take all this, and uh I think it's no fault to the game. I just think everyone's burnt out, and you got the perfect combination of burnt outness in your game, or vibes
Yeah.
from your game. I'm getting Overwatch vibes. I'm burnt out of that. I'm getting Guardians of the Galaxy Marvel vibes. I'm burnt out of that. The team shooter. I'm burnt out of that. Hero shooter aspect. I'm burnt out of that. So it's like no wonder this game came out with only 750 concurrent players. I I
Not
think people are
even.
just
I'm looking at Steam DB. The all time peak was 697.
yeah, and on top of that, it wasn't even free to play. It was a $40, 30 to
Well,
$40
that's
price
probably the
tag.
reason why it's so low. It would be higher if it was free to play, but man, it's it's rough. I mean, your point about like the time period where the game was pitched is very salient to me. Clearly, this is the issue, right? Games take a long time to make. Even if you
Yes.
took 5 years, I don't think this game would have been a success. If if it came out in 2021. But the fact that you took 8 was, I mean, dude, we've had a whole generation pass in that period of time, basically.
Yep.
And at that point, it's like, dude, we've had a ton of hero shooters and people are just tired of this genre. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy's had 2 more movies since then. Marvel is more played out than it could ever possibly be, up to this point. So it's just like people are tired of this stuff. And I think it was ill-conceived to think that you could work on this game for that long and it would be a success. It's just, I don't know. It's like if you're gonna make a live service game, it's gonna take you a long time to make it, because that's just the nature of the beast there. But at the same time, you better have a unique idea,
Yes.
in this space, because if you don't, and you just look like a different skin of something else, it's not gonna work. Like, you're gonna fail more than likely. And we've seen this, like, there's a certain amount of space for these things, right? Like, let's take BR for example, right? PUBG was the big one, obviously, and then Fortnite, Epic made the smart decision to pivot Fortnite into BR, right? And they did that very quickly after PUBG kind of took off. Like, I think Fortnite BR came out months after PUBG started getting really popular, right? It wasn't that long, so that made a lot of sense. And then we got Apex, was probably the last one that was in 2019. But that was also shortly after PUBG got popular, like maybe a year and a half at most, that game came out. And that's kind of it though in that space. Like, everybody else who tried it with BR like failed. Like, those games are all dead. There's no one else. Like, no one's even thinking about making those anymore. It's like, I don't even remember the last time I heard of a BR getting announced. It's like everybody gave up. That genre is spoken for. The big guys are there. You're not going to take people away. It's kind of like MOBAs, right? With League and Dota. So to me, it's like, if you're going to do something in this space, you kind of have to create something unique or create a new form of live service game, something we haven't seen before. Like, that's the only way you're going to get into this space and like make a splash, and we're going to talk about that with the next game we talk about here, in the next story. But it's just like, I just don't think there was no juice here. They just made a generic hero shooter that is like, there's nothing special about it. It's just a hero shooter with a different skin. And,
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't think that was ever going to succeed. I just think the thing I don't understand here is, like, what did PlayStation think was going to happen with this, that they wanted to buy Firewalk, like,
I
it's
think
so weird.
I think what happened was, when they bought this, or when this game was pitched, it was probably pitched them as a first party, but not the studio was going to be. Studio wasn't going to be, exclusive. Just this game, and I don't think they thought it through as far as the development time and how long it would take to develop.
Yeah.
Also, I think if you got to 2020, right, and you're an executive and you're like, all right, maybe it was time for us to shut down these games or whatever, right? And then COVID happens, and then everybody's making buku money off of like live service games in like the next 6 months after COVID pops off. I would probably say, like, well, this is probably going to be the new norm for a while. I'm thinking as an executive, y'all. I'm not thinking as an actual like human being who has a brain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking as an executive. So hey, I would say, oh, well, we have this super cool multiplayer game coming out. Let them keep developing it. Give them as much time as they need to develop this, because that is our new focus. That was a Sony strategy, remember? So if that's our strategy, of course this is gonna be our flagship fucking, game or whatever. And then everything obviously takes a shit in 2023 and then 2024 as far as live service goes. Yeah, I mean, you might as well just drop the game. Like, just finish it and whatever. If it's a hit, it's a hit. If it's not, it's not.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's not. And I would rather this game have been like a single player game. The story looks cool. I'll be honest with you. The story and the characters do look. The trailer looks very interesting. I was so turned off, and I was just like, there was like, oh, this is our new hero shooter. I'm like, oh my fucking god! Like,
Yeah.
like at least
Yeah,
be a
man.
co-op like Borderlands or something like that. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
You know, I think that space still has a chance to be explored, like a $40 co-op game that's not Destiny or whatever like that. But you made it a hero shooter, so I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
don't care. You know.
Well, and just to put this in put this in perspective. So, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League launched, and it had 13,000 concurrents when it launched.
Yikes.
Redfall, which is one of the biggest disasters we've seen in recent years, had 6,000 players at launch on Steam. That was how many concurrents it got up to. So, yeah, this game is fucking bombing epically. Which, it's a shame. It does make me wonder though. I mean, like, Sony can't just close the studio, right? So they're gonna need to try to salvage the game in some way, or give Firewalk probably a mulligan to try again with something else. But I mean, if they're gonna save the game, what do you think? Like, just put it on PS Plus or make it free? Like, just make it free.
Make it free to play. Just make it free to play.
Do you think they can do that so soon though? Like, they're gonna piss off the people who did buy the game.
Oh, I'm sorry. The 750 people that bought the game.
No, it's probably like several thousand with the PlayStation folks. So, I mean,
I don't
know.
so. Maybe
I think you put it on PS Plus first, and then
you give those people a refund. I mean, whatever.
You think so?
Yeah, man. Like,
yeah, I know. If you're Sony, you might as well, right? Like, if you really want to salvage the game, give all those people a refund and just make the game free to play. That's the problem. From what I understand, this game is not designed for free to play. Like, the microtransactions just aren't there to support a free to play game. Like, they didn't want to do battle passes or any of the like cosmetic nonsense,
I
so
mean,
it's like,
I'm sorry, bro. You better start cooking. Start cooking. Like, this is not.
Yeah.
It's not it, man. I'm sorry. Like, Sony's gonna want their money back. So you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
If you can make a game like Shadow of War, where the game is kind of designed around microtransactions, to not be designed around microtransactions anymore, I feel like you can do the opposite. You can make a game designed around microtransactions. I think Destiny did it. You can do it. Get Bungie over there, brother. They can do it. They can help you out. Like.
Oh man. Oh boy. Jesus. All right. Well, we'll keep tabs on this game. We'll see if anything, any movement happens in the short term on it, but we'll certainly talk about it on the show. All right. Like I alluded to, we're going to talk about a game that might have an actual chance of success here, which is Valve's new game, Deadlock, which we talked about last week. They actually fully revealed it this week after the leak and just said, fuck it. And they opened up discussion to everybody. The Steam page went live and everything. And this game had, it seems like upward of 90,000 players at some playing the game, but it was up to 44,000 concurrents as of a few days ago was the highest it got to. So yeah, this game, Montrell, we talked about it last week, but and the current peak was actually 106,000 it looks like. So there's definitely interest in this game, but do you think it's as simple as, Valve kind of made a game that is fairly unique here?
Yeah, I think they this is gonna slap in the face of Smite players. I think they made a game that a lot of people want, which is a third person MOBA, but not Smite. So
or Battleborn.
This game gives me it's called Predecessor now, but I forgot the name of it before. Paragon, yeah. I love Paragon. Me and DJ used to play Paragon all the fucking time. And this gives me Paragon vibes. And the problem with Paragon was Fortnite. I mean, they were made by the same people. So
right. They abandoned it.
Yeah, they abandoned it. So I think there's a clear route for that. I mean, there's been so many remakes of Paragon. There's clearly an audience for it. And I tried Smite and I just don't like it. But I think there is there is a genre out there for the third person MOBA. I think people want Overwatch and they want League of Legends to come together and have a baby.
Yeah,
And
the itemization and the
yeah,
leveling and right.
yeah. And I think this is like hopefully this can be that middle ground, you know? So
Yeah. Well, Montrell, we need to get into this game. We need somebody to invite us. So if anybody's listening to this, you got an invite, baby. Send
yeah,
it our way.
I definitely want to play. So
Yeah. Because I'm very interested in it personally too. Like we're looking for something new, and this definitely would be that for sure. So all right. Well, it doesn't look like that game's coming out anytime soon though. So I think it's gonna be in early access for a while. So let's move on to our next story, Montrell. It's Tales 30th anniversary. The Tales of series 30th anniversary is this year, and they're announcing a bunch of shit. It sounds like they have a bunch of announcements actually going through the official anniversary, 30th anniversary, which I think is in December. So the first one we're hearing of though is Tales of Grace's F remastered, Montreal. Are you ready to re-experience the worst story in the Tales series?
it wasn't that bad.
By God, it's bad. It is bad. Montreal, when I tell you, okay, nobody can give me shit about this, okay? Because I have probably put more time into Tales of Graces than 99% of the people who've probably played this game. All right. I have played through this game 4 or 5 times minimum. I was
Why
trying to get
so
the
many?
platinum.
Okay,
I was trying to get the
why so
platinum
many
trophy.
times?
I was trying to get the platinum trophy, and the platinum trophy for this game is extremely fucking grindy and annoying. You need to do like fucking everything, and I was trying to do it over multiple playthroughs. So I ended up playing through the game a fuck ton of times, right? And this was back when I first moved to Texas, and I actually didn't have a job, so I was like, I didn't have a lot of money, so I was trying to like put as much time into one game as humanly possible, and this just happened to be the fucking game. The story in this game is terrible. Okay, the characters are terrible. It's not a good narrative. All right. I've heard it enough times where I'm actually intrigued to play through it again just to see if I still feel the same way. Because when I finished the game, when I put it down, I couldn't get through it, dude. I needed a few more trophies and I just couldn't keep playing it. I was like, I can't keep doing this. I don't want to hear these characters anymore. I don't want to hear their voices. I don't want to I'm done with this shit. But what I will say is it's one of the best combat systems that Tales has ever had. It's such a weird pendulum with this fucking game because the combat in this game is really fucking good. The character control is excellent. There's no mana in the game though. That's one of my biggest criticisms is that you kind of use like a point system to use your abilities and stuff in this game, and as long as you have points, you can continue to combo. That's kind of the way it works. But the party in this game was really fun to play with. Like there were multiple characters that were really fun to control as the player that were really strong. And this game is worth it for that alone. I feel like I would recommend it just for the gameplay. This is kind of to me close to peak Tales gameplay in terms of the pure like minute to minute action. So like this is up there with Vesperia, Symphonia. I'd argue I actually think it's probably better than those games from an objective standpoint. Nostalgia wise, I think I still prefer the Vesperia like Symphonia system where you were kind of on that like 2D plane in combat, but this game kind of unleashed the full 3D aspect of Tales that we know now. This was the first one to really do that, and it did it pretty well, frankly. So, but I do think Zilly is a better game as well too. So, but I do think it's worth playing. I wouldn't pick it up at $60 or $70 if that's what they're going to charge for it. But picking it up on sale, it's probably worth it for that. So I don't know. Did you ever play Graces though, Bontrell?
Because is it Graces and then Graces F, or is it just Graces, right?
Graces. So Graces was the original release of the game. Graces F is the full like game of the year edition. Basically, it had a DLC story DLC that came out.
Okay. And did this come out on the PS3?
Yes.
F came out on PS3, right? Like the
Correct.
Okay. I did play it. about 10 to 15 hours, and then I moved to Texas, and I never picked it up again.
Well, you moved to Texas. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and I left my
Um,
PS3 at home or at my
gotcha.
grandma's house. So,
Oh, okay. All right.
so
Well,
all
it's
I had
worth
was my
playing through.
PS4.
One thing I will say, the DLC, while the story's not great necessarily, the character writing is significantly improved over the base game. Like it is so stark, it's impossible not to notice. So that's something as well for this. So it's an interesting game to experience. I kind of want to play through it again. It's been a long time, but
I just remember Grace's F because me, DJ, and Tori were arguing about this game for some reason. And I was stone cold like nothing beats Vesperia. It is the best game ever. And they were
mhm.
like, Montrell, Grace's F is way better combat wise. It's just a way better game. And I'm like, no, it's not. Vesperia is the best. So I just that's what I remember about this game. I don't remember
Yeah.
the story though.
Okay, and I think like so that's what I was kind of saying earlier, right? I think objectively I would agree with that opinion that I think this game does have better combat than the older Tales, pound for pound. But in terms of like, there is a nostalgia to those old games that's hard to get past for me. That like they have fun combat systems, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like they're garbage, you know, but they have a very like back and forth style combat. You know, it's like you attack, then the enemy attacks. You attack, then the enemy attacks. Grace's is a little bit more fluid, where you can kind of like juggle characters and stuff, and like you can fucking combo almost endlessly if you're good enough at it. It's a little bit more skill based, I would say, than those older ones are.
Okay. And you know what? I'm actually gonna try to pick it up and see what's going on with it. Give
Yeah,
it
there's
another
a
shot.
dude. There's a character later in the game that has these two swords that he throws, and that's his combat style, and it's fucking sick to play. It was super fun to play as him. So there's also a dude who has like a basically what is it like essentially a dual bladed lightsaber. It's not actually a lightsaber, but it's like he's got like a weapon that's dual bladed like that. And he's really fun to play as well. And the mage in this game is really really fun to play as too. She's not like a pure caster. Like she kind of attacks, I think, and like kind of combos, and then like she can like insta cast some of her spells. I think that was the case in this game.
Okay.
So there's some interesting character design for sure in this. The healer is boring though. She just stands there and heals and never runs out of mana, so she can just endlessly heal forever and ever and ever. But yeah, and then there's the purple haired girl with the ponytails that I don't know why, but I don't remember anything about her gameplay. So I don't know, but yep, it's coming in January 17th, 2025. So all right. Well, Cheryl, let's move on. We finally made it to our final story for the week. Is July Circana numbers. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. July 2024 video game sales 4.773 billion this year versus 4.349 billion last year. That is a 10% increase. Video game content, this is physical digital game sales, microtransactions, subscriptions, etc. 4.263 billion this year versus 3.880 billion last year. That's also a 10% increase. Video game hardware, 326 million this year versus 292 million last year. That's a 12% increase. And then video game accessories, 184 million this year versus 177 million last year. That's a 4% increase there. So, you know, I'm sure many of you can probably guess the reason this month is so different from previous months where we had such significant growth year over year. Well, let's get into the rankings here, and you'll understand why very quickly. So, number one game, top 20 games in the U.S. in July 2024. Number one, EA Sports College Football 25. Number two, EA Sports MVP Bundle. Number three, Elden Ring. Number four, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Number five, Minecraft. Number six, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, which is fucking insane. Number seven, Hogwarts Legacy. Number eight, MLB The Show 24. 9, EA Sports FC 24. 10, Marvel Spider-Man 2. 11, Mortal Kombat 1. 12, Mario Kart 8. 13, Helldivers 2. 14, Tekken 8. 15, Luigi's Mansion 2. 16, Sea of Thieves. 17, UFC 5. 18, Rainbow Six Siege. 19, The Crew Motorfest. And number 20, Ghost of Tsushima. Montrell, what's jumping out to you there?
That fucking EA shit. That shit just pissed me off.
Power of college football is real. I mean, we said it on the show. This game
Yeah, yes,
was going
this
to be
game.
huge.
And from what I from the Angry Joe review, I haven't played Madden, but college football, just like the old times, is significantly better than Madden again.
Isn't that depressing?
Yeah, it is actually. I mean, it's always been like that. NCAA before it became college football was always better than Madden, in my opinion. And then they just stopped doing it.
Dude, his Madden review, it's like, I'm sure he's like predisposed to hating Madden at this point. He's been doing this for so long.
I actually think he wants the games to be good, though.
No, he definitely does. I definitely feel that from him, right? I think it's genuine, right? I think he genuinely does want Madden to be good. I just think there is a predisposition to hating Madden, but it's just when he starts getting into the specifics of it, it's like it's kind of hard to argue with him, though. It's like, dude,
exactly.
Like, NCAA comes out a month ago, right, and has these features like one of them was like creating your own team, right? You can do that in the NCAA game.
And you can play them in quick play.
Yeah, and you can play them in quick play. And then he's talking about Madden in the review, and they have the same feature, literally the same website. It looks exactly the same. Like, dude, but it's like missing all these features. There's like only 6 fields you can pick from, where there's like 100 in college sports or college football rather. And then like there's like you can't play your fucking team in quick play online either, which is like what the fuck is going on with this? Like, why is it like this?
Yeah, so like Madden is very interesting because I genuinely don't understand the moves they make with that game. Like, I really want to sit in the boardroom meeting with them where they're having the meetings on why they do the things they do. Because why is one feature in college football but the other feature's not in Madden? So I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean that's what's sticking out to me. I don't really. I mean, nothing.
I mean,
else
that's the only new game other than Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, which is number 6 on the list. Like, what the flying fuck? How the fuck does Nintendo fucking do this shit? I don't understand. This is a collection of challenges of old video games. It's not even the games. Like, I don't think you actually get to play the games in them. Like, it's just like a challenge, like a bunch of challenges of like Mario 3, like beat this level in this amount of time or something. It's like shit like that. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm so confused.
I mean, I'm okay. I was gonna say I should be asking you because I consider you the bigger Nintendo fan than us. I mean, I'm not saying you are a Nintendo fan. I'm just saying you're the bigger one than for us.
I'd say that's fair. I've waned over the last few years. I used to be a fucking fanboy.
Yeah. So okay. So did you buy everything Nintendo, and why did you? And if you did, why?
No, I didn't buy everything Nintendo.
Okay.
I've always been the type of person I only buy the games I think I'm gonna play. I don't just buy games to buy games. It's like I'm not. I did that very briefly on Steam and quickly learned like I don't have time to play all these games. It's a waste of money, right?
Okay.
So I've always been practical in that way, but I will say there are Nintendo games that I purchased because of my Nintendo fandom that ended up not being so great, over the years. But this isn't. I don't think this is that. I don't really understand what this is because I don't know, it sounds like a cool idea, but dude, are you gonna pay $60 for this thing?
Well, it's not $60. It's the $29.
Okay, all right, that's a little bit more reasonable then. But this is money's made though. This isn't ranked by like how many copies you sold, so this is ranked by how much money the game made, so that means they sold a lot of copies. That's crazy, dude. So that's interesting. But so let's put the college football dominance into further perspective for all of you by going over the top 20 best-selling games of 2024 so far. So number 1 is EA Sports College Football 25, which has eclipsed Helldivers 2, which we know has sold somewhere in the realm of 15-ish million or so. So That is interesting. And then you've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 at number 3. Dragon's Dogma 2 is still hanging on at number 4. And then number 5 is EA Sports MVP bundle, which is a bundle for College Football 25. Oh my god. And then Elden Ring, MLB Show 24. Number 7. Number 8 is WWE 2K24. Number 9 is Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. 10 is Tekken 8. 11 Hogwarts Legacy. 12 Madden NFL 24. 13 NBA 2K24. 14 Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Number 15 EA Sports FC 24. 16 P3 Persona 3 Reload. 17 is Minecraft. 18 Grand Theft Auto 5. 19 Sea of Thieves. 20 Marvel Spider-Man 2. Sports, Montrell.
Never underestimate the power of casuals, man.
Dude. Yeah, if it was just core gamers, these games wouldn't even be on this list, right? But it's totally casuals buying all these sports games, you know?
Yeah. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I know people take that in a disrespectful way. I truly just think, you know, some sports games are like super casual, or sports games in general, as a sports games fan, are casual, you know, games, and these appeal to the casual people. So I don't know. That's very interesting. What the fuck is what is the EA Sports MVP bundle? Is that college football?
I think it's Madden and
it's Madden and college football bundled together.
Yeah, hold on.
$150? What the fuck is wrong with y'all people?
Yeah. So you get Madden 25 and college football 25. You're playing the same. You're playing like the same game. These people are crazy, dude. It's just.
First of all, we're both speaking. I'm a huge college football fan, and then Justin is a huge
NFL fan. Yeah, dude.
So we're speaking from both perspectives. What the fuck is wrong with y'all people? Y'all cannot be feeding for this shit that much, y'all. I'm sorry.
My God. Dude, they come out a month apart. Like, how different of an experience are these two games? Could they possibly be, right? Like, where you're playing college football for a month, and then you're playing Madden a month later. It's like, what? Is there that big of a difference between the two? Like, that's crazy, dude. This is number 5 on the year list, like the full year list. Like, how insane is that? It sold more copies than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Just the bundle made more money than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, what the fuck?
$150.
And Tekken 8, dude.
And this is coming from I consider us, like, I don't do drafts or anything like that, but I do watch, like, I watch sports football. I love college football, and Justin, obviously, he loves NFL. I don't understand. Is this like the Monster thing again? Like, we just don't understand our fan base?
I think so. Yeah. No, dude. Like, they're gonna dude. It's gonna be like, 15 years from now, right? Madden's gonna be like way better. In some hypothetical universe where this actually is possible. This is probably not going to happen. But let's imagine a world where like Madden is significantly improved 15 years from now. There's gonna be people on Reddit, I feel like, that are gonna be like, man, y'all remember the golden era of Madden 25 or Madden 21?
Oh my God. I hope I'm still alive. I'm gonna fucking flame the fuck out of that Reddit, bro. Oh my God.
Like, what in the fuck are you talking about, dog? Like, golden era of fucking.
But you know it's gonna happen.
Dude.
There are gonna be people 10 years from now, Justin, who are gonna be like, man, remember oh no! This is what they're gonna do. This is what I fucking hate this shit. Maybe it's gonna be like fucking think pieces or retrospectives. I think we were too hard on Suicide Squad. What do you mean you think we were too hard on Suicide Squad?
Oh my God! No, dude. It's gonna happen because Madden's gonna get worse. Actually, like, it's gonna continue to get worse, and people are gonna get nostalgic of the time, like now when Madden was, it was bad, but oh man, it wasn't as bad as it is in 2034, Like, oh man.
I will say, I think Madden needs to retire that engine, man. I don't even think Battlefield is using that engine anymore for the next game.
I'm gonna advocate for this, okay? I'm actually gonna advocate for this. And I've always been reluctant to, because I feel like EA could eventually make more money doing it this way. Is we need the yearly release model for Madden to be done away with. Like, it's over. Turn it into a fucking live service game. Like, turn Madden into a live service that you constantly update, and we will actually get a good video game over time. That's the only way it's ever going to happen. And it's just. But why would they? Why would they when dude? Why would they when Madden 25 on August, Circana, when we do this in a few weeks? It's gonna be number 1 or number 2 for sure. It's gonna be number 1 for the month. It'll be number 2 for the year probably, or number 3 maybe. It's like,
I do want to add, like, this is America, bro.
Yeah.
Like, no one's buying this shit outside of America. I mean, you may get a couple people in the UK, but that's it. This is pure Americans right here, bro.
Yeah, that is fair to keep in mind, right? Helldivers 2 may have sold a lot of its copies worldwide, potentially, and less in the US, potentially. So EA Sports College Football 25 probably didn't sell 15 million copies necessarily. It just made enough money in the US to eclipse Helldivers 2's money's made in the US. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, it's not necessarily 100% like, 1 for 1, but it doesn't matter, dude. It's huge regardless, right? We know they made 220 million off fucking pre-orders before the game even came out. So, Jesus Christ. I mean, I've been toying with the idea of buying Madden and giving it a shot, like trying it again this year.
I think you should. I mean, it's not like you're supporting it. I mean, this will be your first time buying it, what, like 7 to 8 years or some shit like that?
Yeah, I think I want to say 17 was the last time I actually tried, like gave it a shot. So I'm paying like $10 a year for Madden, basically. I don't know. I'm just curious. It's like I watch Joe's review, and then I go on YouTube and kind of like look at, other people's opinions a little bit. And as much as I trust these people, like I do, every few years I want to dip in and just see for myself. Like what is it like? What is it like? Is it as bad as it looks? Is it as bad as everybody says it is? And usually the answer is yes. So actually every time the answer's been yes. So I don't know, but it's just like I don't want to pay $70 for it though. It's just like
I say you do this. Like, they usually towards the new Madden comes out, I think you should buy the old Madden and just play it. Like, so like when 25, like maybe in like July of 2025 or something like that, just buy this version of Madden. Buy Madden 25 and play it.
Yeah. And then no, what I should do is buy Madden 25 and then buy Madden 26 a month later and compare the two and see how much of a difference there actually is between the two games.
You can do that actually. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah. That'd be interesting for sure. I don't know. Yeah, like part of me wants to play it. It's just like Madden's another thing, right? It would be a lot of fun if like a bunch of us got it and there were like 7 or 8 of us and we could actually do like an online franchise mode together. And we all had like a team.
I mean, even Angry Joe just said you can't do that with 2 players.
No, you can. No, what he was talking about, what he was talking about was they wanted to play on the same team with a custom team.
Okay.
Like where they both control a player, where like, he's like Joe's the fullback and other Joe's like the running back, and he's like trying to block for him or something. Or like he's like Joe's the quarterback and other Joe's the receiver, on the same team. So no, connected franchise should work. Like you should be able, like there should be able to be 8 of us, and we kind of play it like a fantasy league almost, where we play our game every week, and then when we're all done, we advance the week to the next week, and then eventually we have to play each other, right? Like obviously that's going to happen at some point. And that would be it's like really fun to like have like a bunch of human players in a connected franchise. So that could be fun, but it's just like who am I going to convince? It's like you might get it, maybe, I guess. Like, yeah, and that's like it. I don't think Jet would get it. He might. I don't know, but nobody else is going to get it though. It's like I don't think we'd be able to get up enough. Like it'd be kind of cool maybe if we got like 4 of us. It was like me, you, DJ, and Jet, and like we all just played in the same division. That would be kind of interesting, That would be kind of cool, maybe. Something like that. But so there's things like that with Madden that still intrigue me. But can you imagine if it was actually a good video game and you could still do that stuff? Like, holy shit. I wouldn't play any other game, you know? But I don't know. So it is what it is, man. Until this changes, until we get to a year where like this doesn't happen, where like Madden doesn't even chart, or like EA Sports, college football doesn't even chart, which is literally never going to happen. But if it did, that would be the only way that they would like change their approach, Um, so it is what it is. All right, Montrell, we've made it to the end. We got through all the news. There's a lot of news to talk about, but we got through it all. And actually,
Yeah,
I
but
forgot.
say the Metacritic stuff.
I forgot these games came out.
Yeah.
So we guessed on Black Myth Wukong and Star Wars Outlaws a while back. So Black Myth Wukong, Montrell guessed an 87, and I guessed a 78. And currently this game is sitting at an 81 on Metacritic. I was closer by a little bit. Just a little bit.
Without going over. So you won that one for sure.
And then Star Wars Outlaws, I guess the 77. Montrell gets the 71. Boy, your boy's 2-0. I guess it right on the money, baby. It's sitting at a 7.7 right now.
Are you 77 serious? On, that doesn't sound right.
On Metacritic. Yeah, dude. It's the number one top game. Top game. Now, let me look. Did everybody... Yeah, most of the reviews are in.
Yeah, most of it has 71 reviews. 71 so yeah, you got it right on the money. So,
man,
right I thought it would have been lower than that.
You went with the extremes, and it didn't work out this time. I was in the middle. I was middling on both. It ended up working out on this one, but no, you got me earlier in the year. I think with I think it was Stellar Blade, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you guessed right on. So, all right. I don't think there's anything coming out soon we should do this on, so I'll take a look before next week, and we can maybe pick some games out for the rest of the year.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Watch out. Anything else you want to talk about before we go today?
Nope. That's it.
All right. Well, let's get the hell out of here, guys. If you like this episode, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please subscribe to the show on YouTube. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap4the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNet01, and the show is at the Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that'll be it for us, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you next week.